Hello and welcome back to Lorehammer. I'm your host, Mark, and joining me, first of all, is Brody. Hey, yo, welcome.
Hello, everybody.
The old bro diddly.
The,
How's it hanging?
the great and powerful Bradley. Feel like I'm wrestling like personality sometimes when I say shit like
That's okay. That's a good way to be, man.
yeah. I'm
Yeah,
just
over the
my own
top.
Randy Savage.
Oh yeah. Well, just me and Brody for the first little bit of this episode. I think Gerald will be joining us. He just got a little caught up and we didn't want to go too late. I think we're going to try to get a call-in guest though to join us for the first little bit of this episode till Gerald gets us. So if you're in the live stream, I'll drop a link there and you can hop in, kind of like how we do call-ins at the end, but we'll do them at the beginning for a bit. Some more housekeeping before we get to this episode of Tzeentch. It's going to be fun. Discord. Been a lot of fun. Come join the Discord if you need a way to get onto it. I read out the link on an episode last week, word letter by letter. I won't do that to you again, but if you click in the Patreon, the podcast description, it'll be there for you guys to go check that out. And you can also join the Patreon. Come support the show. Give us $1, give us $2 for free, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just throw us some money. It won't hurt you that much. You'll kind of enjoy it even. I know I love spending money, so just throw us a buck on
Retail
Patreon.
therapy. It's definitely the key to how we do things in life.
Yeah, exactly. And you can also get ad-free version on Patreon and a video version. So go check those out.
And on Patreon, when you join Patreon, you actually get access to the live stream, what you're seeing right now. There's a live chat room during the show, and we also have a call-in guest at the end of every episode, or at this episode at the beginning of the episode. So we're doing it all. So, but yeah, join the Patreon, get the live stream, join the Imperial Tide. It's amazing. So just pitter patter and get at her.
Yeah, well, today we're getting after it. Today is a Tzeentch episode. Like I said, I kind of, we did the gods before the White Scar. So not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, we did this kind of god series where we talked about all of them. And when writing the notes, as often happens, I just end up writing way too many. And it spawned this kind of episode idea where we talked about the god and we talked about how they manifested. We talked about kind of their colors, their symbolism, all that kind of stuff. And then we briefly touched on their demons. But in this episode, we're going to be going hard on like, what are these demons? What do they look like? What are their war gears? What are their powers and abilities? We'll talk about demons' true names. Can you kill a demon? We'll find out. What's the difference between possession and a bond? We'll find that out today, too. Do you want to bind a demon to a sword, or are you just having it possess your best friend for a heck of a good party weekend? It's up to you. We'll teach you how.
I'm telling you right now, everybody, bind that demon whenever you get a chance. Whatever you can. Butter knife, demon bonded. Cup, demon bonded. I'm telling you right now, it's amazing to have just like you're having a sip of water. Next thing you know, you're kissing a demon and giving him your soul.
Very nice, yeah. But if you put like
It's
a
great.
corn demon in a butter knife or a teacup, its fiery rage will heat the teacup for you, so you have constant hot tea, which, British people.
You know what? I
Shit.
could have used a corn powered butter knife last night, just spreading the butter over some pancakes. We did breakfast for supper, and it was like pancakes, little melted butter as you're doing it. That would have been perfect demon binding.
Yeah,
Right
so
there.
we'll teach you how to bind to all these different types of objects in this episode. And yeah, like I said, we'll talk about greater demons, demon princes, lesser demons, beasts, steeds, demon engines, and we'll kind of get into some more notable demons of Tzeentch. There's a couple that deserve a full episode in and of itself, but then there are a couple that we'll just kind of get to and, never speak of again. But yeah, let's kind of start with this episode. How are we saying this? The Scintillating legions?
Scintillating.
Scintillating, not scintillating. That would be a Slanesh, I guess.
Yeah, definitely scintillate my skin, my lord.
So let's start with just a quick little recap on Tzeentch. Tzeentch, the great conspirator, is the god of change, fate, and transformation, embodying the endless flow of possibility and the manipulation of the very fabric of reality. He is the master of schemes and sorcery, a being whose every action is calculated move in an eternal game of power, where knowledge and deceit reign supreme. His nature is ever shifting, like the warp itself, and his ultimate goals remain a tantalizing mystery known only to him, if even he truly understands them himself. Tzeentch weaves his plots through time and space, shaping destinies, altering lives, and twisting minds, all while remaining hidden behind layers of arcane mysteries. His followers, be they mortals, demons, or even lords of change, are all pawns in his grand, incomprehensible design, each playing their part, knowingly or unknowingly, in the great tapestry of fate that he alone controls. Yeah.
I have to say, I love Tzeentch, but the way you said, known only to him, if he even truly understands them, just made me think that Tzeentch is just a person with ADHD and forgets things and moves on to the next scheme, and then years down the road, they're like, "Hey, I found a $20 bill that I put in this sock 20 years ago."
Just as planned. I always knew I needed this 20 years from now.
Exactly right.
Yeah, I imagine too, he's the type of guy where even if it wasn't his plan, that is now his plan. Like his plan's always evolving, adapting, and whatever the current thing is going on, that is his plan. He's always kind of winning in that regard.
Yeah, exactly. It's he's that mustache twirler that is like, "Oh yes, all according to my plan." And it's like, was that? And they're like, it is now.
It was perfect.
So yeah, absolutely. And Tzeentch, you can't talk about Tzeentch without talking about his demons. Because that could be a great Irish pub song. Tzeentch's Demons. I'm telling you right now, it's a good time.
Yeah, fuck yeah. I'll drink to that.
You can hear the Irish bagpipes and the fiddle. Oh, it's gonna be a good time. But because all demons are basically of Tzeentch, all of Tzeentch's demons are made of him. The demons of Tzeentch are embodiments of his ever-changing will, grotesque and bewildering entities that manifest in endless forms. Each one a reflection of the god's immutable, scheming nature. They are creatures of both raw power and inscrutable cunning, wielding potent sorceries and illusions to manipulate the very fabric of reality. Their shapes are often in flux, their bodies a chaotic blend of bird-like features, serpentine coils, ever-shifting forms that defy mortal understanding. These demons exist not just to destroy, but to shape, deceive, and alter the course of events, sowing discord and uncertainty in the pursuit of Tzeentch's unknowable goals. Led by the Lords of Change, each greater demon operates with its own interpretation of their master's will, commanding legions of followers and ever-evolving schemes, whether through fiery conflagrations, treacherous veiled legions, or unpredictable and anarchists. Tzeentch's demons are ever the instruments of his insidious long-term plans, manipulating the fates of mortals and immortals alike.
Yeah. So we got these demons where they're the literal manifestation of the god's will, and they take on different aspects of them, as we'll go through the episode and name them all. But the things are like part god, essentially. They are made of the god. They are his essence, and they do his will always.
Yeah, and that's kind of like that's why you don't see a whole lot of demons that like betray their god, because they technically are part of their god. So like hard to like Be'lakor is like one where or not Be'lakor. There's another demon. It's a corn demon that like he had his wings torn off. Oh yeah, that one. Yeah. He kind of like betrayed Corn, which was strange, and like you just don't see it very often, right? So
yeah. But like with Corn, it's like that Scarbrand wasn't betraying like his base nature. He was made for war and destruction, and he just got pointed at the wrong target, which was kind of his own god, And yeah, there's some hubris in there too and stuff. We'll find out when we do Corn's episode. But like, yeah, you're right. Like they don't really have that ability. And even all the plans and schemes that the Tzeentchian demons make, like even if they go against Tzeentch's plans, they're still planning and scheming, which is what Tzeentch wanted in the first place.
It's like you can never actually interrogate a Tzeentch demon because it's just making a different, like it's always going to lie to you or it's not going to lie to you so that you think it's lying, and it's like, oh god, this is just confusing.
Yeah. Stupid talking in riddles all the time. You're just like, I just asked where the bathroom was. Can you please just tell me?
So I don't know what it all means, man. I just gotta take a shit.
Please. Demons, they do have true names though, which are kind of, pretty common in most mythologies, fantasies, or whatever. If you got their true name, you kind of get their power over the demon. 40k has some slight differences as we'll read about, but let's discuss that in a second. A demon, though it may wear 100 faces and answers to countless names across 1,000 worlds, possesses only one true name. A demon, like a cinnamon but demon. You're on mute.
A demon in? Yeah, I don't know. That's a new one for sure. I think demon in is a new one. I just read that. I was like, how do you say that?
Even him. Yeah. Birthed from unfathomable madness of the warp beyond the comprehension of mortal tongues. These names are as not mere labels, but vessels of unspeakable power, woven into the very fabric of the demon's existence. Utterly impossible to speak without unleashing a torrent of otherworldly force. To know a demon's true name is to wield dominion over it, a rare and coveted prize that those who walk the path of the dark arts will hunt across lifetimes. For this is the knowledge that allows one to bind a demon, to shape it to their will. Ancient cursed tomes like the Liber Demonicum carry the weight of such knowledge, recording the true names of demons as those mere books passed between occultists. The same demon may be bound, tortured, and controlled anew through the centuries. Yet no matter how many times it changes hosts, the demons retain its malevolent intellect and corrupting marks of its dark nature, ever scheming, ever lurking in the shadows of the warp. Yeah. I like this concept. This true name that has like the ultimate power, and it's woven into the very fabric of the universe. Like I can just imagine that, like the inception of the demon starts with the true name. Like when Tzeentch is making his demon, he thinks of this name and he's like, okay, what kind of power am I putting into it? Like, and then he comes up with this title and spawns the demon. The name almost comes first.
I think you're right. I think it has to have the name first. The name creates the demon creates the name, kind of thing. It's chicken and the egg situation a little bit, but
yeah. Well, like for humans, we typically will give birth and then name the child, But with the demons,
not just I'm gonna have a Roger and then hope it's a boy.
Yeah, exactly. But it seems like the gods like manifest that specific name, and then with that name, it manifests the power behind it, or the form and the essence, and yeah.
Yeah, and like there's scenes within the 40k universe where they do actual demon binding, and that like people have the names of these demons, and like one of them is in Eisenhorn. He binds a demon, and basically has its name, holds power over it. It's actually a crazy scene that happens on Cadia, where he binds this demon, and it gets loose, and a Kasserkin tries to kill it with a knife, like just like hand-to-hand combat with a demon, and I'm like, dude, you're sick. Like,
yeah,
awesome.
I want to be like you when I grow up.
And Eisenhorn's like watching this, and he's like, he knows that he's the only one that can actually stop what's happening because he knows the demon's true name. But if he uses it, he has to use it to kill it. Kind of thing. So he's like, I don't want to use it yet, kind of thing, right? So it's this interesting thing, and it was like, it was very interesting. Some of like the stuff that you get out of the Eisenhorn books. I haven't read any of the other ones, the Beckwin or oh gosh, I can't remember his other protege that they did their own series of books on, in like the Inquisition. Ravener, that's the one. I haven't read any of the Ravener books yet. So, but I think there's probably lots of demon names and stuff in there too. So
yeah, for sure. It's interesting you're kind of mentioning death there, because like killing demons is technically possible. It's very rare.
Yeah, and I can kind of talk to that as well if you want for their true deaths. Demons, immortal and ever scheming, endure as long as their patron chaos god wills it, manifesting and being slain, only to be banished back to the warp, where they patiently wait to return, bound by time or the dark rituals of their summoners. Yet even they can face a fate worse than mere exile. True death, a total eradication of their psychic essence, is a rare and almost unfathomable feat for mortals, one that demands the use of arcane relics, forbidden rites, or psychers of extraordinary power. Relics infused with the twisted belief of countless minds, such as the venerated artifacts of the imperial cult, the relics of the Primarchs, or even the Emperor's own sword, becomes potent tools of destruction against the demonic. Such items steeped in corrupt faith and wielded by those with the will to corrupt or control offer the possibility of snuffing out a demon's existence, but only through the most devious and unholy means. So sick. I think I love the idea of all of these like relics that are around the 40k universe, because it's such a huge like world, right? So like the world building that is 40k, the galaxy that is, um how many demon killing artifacts could there be, right?
yeah,
What could they
yeah.
be, and what could they be? A demon killing artifact that's just a flathead screwdriver, like the or
The
whatever,
blessed
something
flathead
stupid.
screwdriver of the Mechanicum. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
It is a blessed screwdriver from
and
the
that's kind of
20th
the
millennium.
neat thing about it. Like, however it happens, I have some theories of how it happens, but humans and their faith and their prayer can kind of like, it put their psychic essence over millennia into these items that then have power to kill
Yeah.
demons. And like, is it the power of prayer that translate through hope? And hope is like an anathanum to chaos, hard to say
Yeah,
exactly how, but there's
it's
definitely
super
that power
interesting.
there.
Yeah, it's super interesting. Like it's kind of almost like the Imperial Saints, right? There's this hope and this faith in something greater, and I think if you're like in the 40k universe, if you're somebody who is like a devout follower of the Emperor, or is somebody who has just unyielding hope in mankind, I think that is where you can see a lot of those things happen, right? And I think I I want to say that like the idea of like imperial saints being holy relics themselves and everything they touch becomes a holy relic is kind of
Yeah.
the same thing. Like, this is the spoon of Saint Sabbat. She ate gruel with it on the war front, like
She
stuff like
didn't even
that,
have
right?
to season it, and it tasted delicious every time.
Every time.
Yeah.
Did you know that there's an imperial saint who's a cook? Stuff like that, right? So it's one of those
Yeah.
things where I think having that hope for mankind and or having faith in the emperor himself, like Celestine being a great example. She was um, a sister of battle, but there's all sorts of different saints that are around that could possibly eventually get to a point where they make their own relics or whatever it might be, right? And also,
Yeah.
like when you think about the Primarchs, like a lot of them don't believe in the emperor as a god or whatever. So, but their stuff is looked at as holy, but even though they don't think it's holy or
Yeah.
whatever, right? So, like it's
So
kind of an
badass,
interesting take,
that's how it starts in
right?
space. Where it's like, oh yeah, their war gear is badass, and then 10,000 years it gets venerated.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden it's anathema to chaos. It's like,
Yeah.
well, how did that happen? Like it was normal 10,000 years ago, and then now it's just like, nah, man, I slay demons. What?
Yeah, man.
So very
But yeah,
interesting. But
these kind of
yeah,
relics, they have power over the demons for sure, and only through like such a crazy powerful relic can you kill them. There's also I think it's called fulgurite, and I believe that's like
Fulgurite. Yeah.
yeah, that's where lightning hits fuck, what is that
So in
again?
real life, it's where lightning hits sand and turns it into its own like glass mineral.
Yeah.
It's considered to be the only manifestation of energy. So like it's the because it's basically
Oh, interesting.
energy. It's energy because it's lightning, right? It's energy that's hit something and created a new thing. So it's almost like manifestation of energy.
Yeah.
And but in the 40k universe, Fulgurite is the where the emperor's power has struck sand and or struck earth and created
Ah.
it. So it's basically like a piece of the emperor's power that can kill primarchs or demons or whatever.
Yeah, cool. But still, once again, like, okay, that's the Emperor's essence to it. Like, it's such a rare
Yeah,
thing. Other than that, you're killing demons. They're just going back to the warp, and the only other way for them to die then is if the god recalls their power, and takes it back.
which
Which,
I think is hilarious. Like
yeah,
their chaos gods are like infinite, but like imagine they're like, oh man, I'm running low on energy, and they just wipe out one of their
yeah.
legions.
You
Like,
failed me for the last time, Trapalalan.
oh,
Just
yeah, and then they
obliterates the demon.
yeah, and it's like, oh god, I was really getting a headache there. No, I'm good. It's like a Tylenol to him.
Yeah.
But that being said, like there's a reason why you want to be able to kill or control demons with their name. That's mostly because of possession. Like so like demons are ever scheming and insidious. They seek to breach the fragile barrier between the dimensions, infiltrating the minds of mortals with psychic gifts. The vulnerable psyker is most susceptible to their touch, which is why the Imperium quakes at the mere presence of such individuals. Fearing the very essence of their power, the demons seep into dreams and visions, weaving their corruptive influence into the soul of their host. As their psychic essence emerges within the body or within the mortal's fragile mind, the body begins to warp, twisting into an unholy mockery of life. This is the fate of the demon host, a pawn in the demon's unrelenting pursuit of carnage. Um, some mortals, intoxicated by the allure of power, willingly surrender to possession, embracing the fleeting gifts the demon bestows, even as those same energies consume them. Possession, while limited by the physical form inhibits, still brings forth untold destruction. Demonically possessed mortals, particularly those with authority or influence, can ignite rebellions, casting entire worlds into chaos and bloodshed. The galaxy's history is stained with the legacy of leaders and commanders who fell prey to demonic corruption. For those who serve the ruinous powers, the process of becoming a demon host is a willing pact, a descent into madness like that of the Chaos Space Marines. Yet, even more insidious is the ritual of creating a mechanical host, a demon engine. Through forbidden rites and the sacrifice of countless lives, mechanical vessels, from humble weapons to towering dreadnoughts, are transformed into prisons for the demon's wrath, bound by an architecture that was never meant to bend to their will, making them a more dangerous and cunning force, one that corrupts from within.
Interesting. Yeah.
So, so a really great like really great options for like reading up on this kind of stuff for any of the listeners is Eisenhorn. Obviously, he has a whole book basically on Demon Host. And if you want to read anything about the Gaunt's Ghosts book series, there are some amazing um, depictions of what they call wire wolves, and
Oh.
it's a mechanical like a wire thing that's held up on like a cross or like an imperial aquila that's been desecrated, and then the demons look for things and actually the demons within those wire wolves are activated at sounds of certain alarms, and they can be controlled by like military leaders and divisions and used to like hunt down partisans. And there's like a couple really great books in the Gaunt's Ghost series where it shows these wire wolves and how deadly they can be, but and whatnot. It's very, very cool.
Yeah, they sound super cool.
Yeah, wire wolves. And like there's a bunch of Dan Abnett kind of wrote all about them. I've never heard about them in any other book except for in Dan Abnett's writing and like the Sabbat World stuff.
Cool.
So, but really interesting idea of them.
Yeah. You can like kind of possess all types of things, whether it's like literal wires or metal, and you can also bind them to things like we're kind of saying. You can bind them to different types of weapons or objects. We kind of all know what a demon weapon is. It's kind of, literally a demon in a sword. Lots of anime has this concept. That's not nothing new to have a sword that kind of feeds on the souls of things it devours, and it becomes more powerful and stuff like that. When thinking about Tzeentch, though, and how his demon weapons operate, it might not always be a sword that he chooses, or like, it might be something different. But Tzeentchian demon weapons are an intricate blend of sorcery and ancient, unfathomable design, imbued with the chaotic, ever-shifting powers of the Changer of Ways. These weapons are not mere tools of destruction, but reflections of Tzeentch's endless schemes, often twisting reality around with every strike. Each weapon pulses with the demon's unpredictable influence, warping the very fabric of fate as it shifts between forms, revealing new capabilities and horrors at a whim. They are often adorned with symbols and arcane runes, their appearance forever changing, reflecting the mutable nature of Tzeentch's will. To wield a Tzeentchian weapon is to dance on the edge of madness, for each blow reshapes the wielder's destiny, unraveling and remaking their very soul in service to the ever-deceptive and enigmatic forces of change. Such weapons are favored by those who seek to bend the future to their desires, though the price of wielding them is never clear, and their loyalty to the wielder is ever in flux. Cool kind of weapons. Just these, like, as soon as you think it's taken an actual solid shape of something, it started to kind of shape and morph into something else.
I think like it just like thinking about it, it's almost like if you're like about to duel somebody who's a Tzeentchian follower and they have a Tzeentchian weapon, it's almost like they start with a sword, and then as you're about to like try and strike the sword, now they have a sickle and they've caught your sword and like pulled it around, and they're warping the reality, and so now you feel like you're upside down, and then you fall, and then they're on top of you, and like it kind of does like this thing where it allows their weapons to shift, but it allows the fabric of reality around you to shift, and so it's kind of like you have to fight two different battles. You have to fight a hand-to-hand combat battle, but you also have to make sure that everything around you is not trying to kill you as well.
Yeah. I love that thought of like, all of a sudden you think you're about to block it, and that wraps around your sword and like devours your sword. You're like, oh shit,
right? It's so cool. There is a very interesting complexity to Tzeentch. He is the Changer of Ways. He wants to be complex, but I think also just the way you can look at some of the things that he's doing with his weapons and like how he bends fabric of reality and everything like that is like he has a certain allure to him that I've found a lot of people don't necessarily like, because they look at it as not combat effective. It's like Khorne is blood rage, Nurgle is rotten, things rust around you, and you're getting sick from it, like as you're fighting them. And Slaanesh is like extremes and like body horror, and it's very scary, and like, and then Tzeentch is like, I'm gonna change the plan. Like people don't really think about it that way, but you can make that super unpredictable. And I like the idea of that. Like it does have an allure to it where it's like, well, I'm actually striking you with a sword, and then next thing you know, my sword has eaten the top half of your sword and turned into a spear, and now it's in your throat, and like
Yeah.
I'm now my spear is drinking your blood. Now I'm like shifting reality, and I'm fighting the next person, but I'm upside down, and I'm running at you, and
Oh
I've got
man.
little like Tzeentch blue horrors like running around too, but they're all coming out of different pocket dimensions and like stuff
Oh,
like that. Where it is a definite like it is a combat thing because it's Warhammer, right? It's all got to get boiled down to combat. I think it's amazing the powers that Tzeentch has with like their changer of ways and their sorcery and everything like that. It can definitely be very cool.
yeah, it's just a mind fuck. Like Corn, yeah, you get the
Yeah.
concept. Like, don't get hit by that fucking axe. Like, okay, I get it. He wants my skull.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, he wants my skull, guys.
yeah.
Yeah. And then Tzeentch is like Inception. Like, oh no. He's
That
in my
it is funny,
mind.
like, that is kind of the movie I keep kind of flicking to in this episode when we're talking, is that Inception. The walls are curving on you and stuff, and yeah, everything's
Exactly.
fit in. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, as you kind of mentioned, you can put demons into metal and make demon engines, but we'll talk more about them later. But that's another way you can kind of bind demons, and that's more of like they still have some free will in that kind of identity as a demon engine. Where now we're going to talk about the bound version, where they're bound, they're contained, they're servants now at this point. Though demons are bound by their intrinsic nature and the unyielding will of their patron, mortals have long sought to twist their power to their own ends, binding these entities to serve their whims through sorcerous rituals. Cults of the ruinous powers and even the most radical inquisitors among the Ordo Malleus sometimes seek to turn these infernal forces of chaos upon themselves, seeking an advantage that may prove their undoing. But the demons, ever scheming, do not accept servitude lightly. The bonds of mortal control are seen as a challenge, an affront to their very essence. A bound demon grows more cruel, more vicious, using every opportunity to lash out and inflict suffering, knowing that to bring torment to one who dares command it, the cruelest of victories. Whether through malicious compliance or subtle sabotage, the demon's servitude is always laced with venom, a reminder that no being of the warp can ever truly be contained. The response of a demon to binding depends on its nature and the schemes it weaves within its prison. Beasts of Khorne, ever restless, will test their chains with blood and fury, only calmed when the master appeases their insatiable wrath. Nurgle's rot-bound minions endure with sickening patience, playing the long game as they await the inevitable decay of their bonds, feigning servility while they ploy to demise their captors. The demons of Slaanesh, vain and egotistical, are the least accepting of all, offering up false promise and enticing lies in the desperate bid for release. Their seductive whispers luring the weak into submission, where torment awaits. Tzeentchian demons, ever inscrutable and perhaps the most dangerous of all, weaving plots within plots, using their bindings as the stepping stone for more complex machinations. Whether they pretend to comply or subtly undo their captors' efforts, they are forever scheming, ready to turn the tables in a game of twisted deception. In the hands of mortal sorcerers, these chains become an exquisite tool of manipulation, a delicate dance where the demons, though restrained, may find ways to bring about the downfall of those who thought they controlled it. Yeah, like, isn't that the thing when you make deals with demons or you try to trick them in any ways? Like, they're still demons. Their nature is to betray. Their nature is to do bad things, and that's what they're going to try to do to you.
That's exactly it. And like it's like the old story, like meet at the crossroads, sell your soul kind of thing. As soon as you start dealing with demons, you're done, man. Like you're screwed. Like if that's where you got to get to, well,
Yeah.
you've stepped from the light of the emperor. You misguided
Yeah,
soul.
like if you think a mere mortal can control the powers of the warp, like that's how you know you're wrong. You're like, the warp's uncontrollable. First of all, that's your first lesson
Yeah,
in warp magic. Good fucking luck.
yeah, yeah. First lesson: no, don't fuck with it.
Don't
Second
fuck
lesson:
with it.
can't control it. So, yeah, it's kind of think about it. The Emperor, the most powerfully psychic human to ever exist, couldn't control the war.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
makes you think you can?
Yeah, what makes you
Think
think
about
you're so great there, hey,
Yeah.
listener?
Hey, why do you think you're so cool, nerd? It's like, yeah, it's I don't know, man. Yeah. Think about it though. The Emperor, most powerful psychically powered human being ever, couldn't control the war. The Malkador, the second kind of most powerful psyker, was just like and like flashed and burned when he tried to hold back like a warp opening on Terra. Like,
Yeah, good
not good,
luck.
not good. You're not gonna win this one, my friend, unless you know its name and you can kill it real fast. Like,
Yeah.
so, but with that, the whole like idea of like how Tzeentch operates, I think a lot of people like even it said like in the hands of mortal sorcerers, these chains become an exquisite tool of manipulation, a delicate dance where the demon, though restrained, may find ways to bring about the downfall of those who they thought they controlled it. I think everybody thinks of Tzeentch demons as like always being captured, always being controlled, but they're like more than like corn demons or Nurgle demons or Slaneshi demons or anything like that. And I think that's like it's definitely planned out that way, right? So also, hi Gerald.
Yo, Gerald, welcome.
Hello. How's
Who's
everyone doing
powerful?
tonight?
Yeah, good. How are
Doing
you
good,
doing?
Gerald. How are you?
I don't feel so powerful. I think Nurgle got upset we're talking about Tzeentch tonight because I've been wrestling a little Nurgling all day.
Oh, sorry
Oh
to hear
no.
that.
No.
Well,
But
this
I'm
episode
here.
maybe will change your ways, as they say.
Hey.
Ooh, hey, whoa. There you go.
Glad to have you. Yeah, we've just been learning about demons. So far, I think the coolest part is just we've learned about all the different things you can do with a demon. Can you put a demon in a toaster and get the perfectly burnt toast every time? You sure can.
Oh, absolutely. You know
It's
it.
gonna cost you. Just
Yeah.
give me your
Oh.
soul.
It'll just cost you your
It's only
soul
gonna
for that
cost
perfect
you.
piece of toast.
Yeah, it's only going to cost you your soul.
Yeah. But now we're gonna hop right into the scintillating legion. So when you get a bunch of demons together from Tzeentch, they're called that, and then, they kind of can operate in different ways. Yeah. So let's kind of learn about that.
Yeah, absolutely. The air shudders with iridescent waves of arcane energy as the convoluted legions of the great conspirator unfurl for war. The scintillating legions, each more befuddling than the last, their forms grotesque and shifting. Mortal eyes see only chaos, a maddening whirl of the impossible beings, yet behind the frenzied spectacle, there is an intricate design, only known to the architect of fate, and even he, in his infinite wisdom, might not reveal the full truth. Tzeentch, ever the schemer, prefers to weave his plots through sorcery and intrigue, twisting the fates of mortals like a marionette in the hands of a hidden puppet master. Yet when schemes fall short, there is always power, raw and untamable, to be harnessed. Thus, Tzeentch demonic legions take the field, unlike any mortal armies, shifting in form, intent, and power. The convocation of Tzeentch's legions is no mere warband, but a mad, chaotic ballet of destruction, a carnival of violence filled with flickering fire and conjured magics, where each movement is a step in the great game. Unlike the brutal, focused forces of Khorne or the methodical, ever-repeating motions of Nurgle's followers, Tzeentch's forces are always in flux, their tactics and compositions bending and twisting like the strands of fate they embody. Each scintillating legion is commanded by one of Tzeentch's greater demons, a lord of change, an enigmatic and calculating being chosen for their singular devotion to their master's unknowable will. These lords are granted autonomy, allowed to bend the legions to their personal tastes and desires, aided by their champions and advisors. Some lords of change, drawn to the raw destruction of fire, lead the conflagration legions, crimson bands of flamers whose warped flames scorch both body and soul with a cruel, relentless fury. Others, reveling in the unexpected, may lead the legions anarchists, which defy any predictable formation or strategy, appearing with no warning and wreaking havoc from the shadows. The masters of deceit and duplicity, those who thrive in the art of subtlety, command the veiled legions, elusive forces that almost never show their full hand, slipping away like whispers after their grand designs unfold. The demonic legions of Tzeentch are not easily contained. Each is divided into 9 hosts. Their leaders, demon princes and heralds such as change casters, flux masters, and fate skimmers, are driven by a boundless ambition to prove themselves worthy in the eyes of their inscrutable master. Rivalries swirl beneath the surface, with each legion vying to outdo the others in service and sacrifice. As the lords of change maneuver against one another in endless plots, each trying to outwit and sabotage their peers in the ever-turning cycle of the great game. And so the sigils of each demonic legion glow in the shadows of the pyramid of Rick, deep within the crystal labyrinth, each one a manifestation of a new design, a new hierarchy, twisting in ever new directions. The 9 most favored legions, those who have gained Tzeentch's favor, control the fractal fortresses, towering symbols of prestige and power, coveted by all those who serve the great schemer. Each is a prize, a fleeting moment of ascendancy in a world where the only certainty is change.
Yeah. I love how
There
some of
you
these
go.
operates. Like, I love the theme of just a certain sorcerer liking a specific demon, or only having the power to call certain demons, or like I like the conflagration legion where a sorcerer is just going to summon a bunch of flamers and stuff, and it just likes the hellfire, the warp fire consuming everything.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's so cool. And like the veiled legions, super interesting as well. Everything's from the shadows. Like when you think of veiled legions, like, but it says legion, there should be lots of them. And it's like, no, you don't get to see any of this now.
There are lots of them. You just don't get to see them.
You just don't get to see them. Right?
Instead of just one purple orc, it's an entire legion of purple orcs. Oh, wait.
The Legion Arcanus sounds kind of interesting, just unpredictable. I kind of almost get like Malal Malice vibes from that titling, but that's neither here nor there. But
I think the Arcanus Legion is like we said, Inception. Like everything's bending around them. They're just like coming out of the walls or coming out of windows that are actually above you, like and stuff like that. It's kind of interesting. I think that's like just anarchy.
yeah. These legions, they do, while they're made up of different demons and stuff, they do have the option to take different types of like war gear or relics, or we were talking about different artifacts that the Imperium have. Chaos has their own versions of artifacts too that are imbued with warp power and all that. So here's some of the more common ones. The Blasted Standard. And it belongs to the demons of change and is so saturated with the chaos god's power that it is wreathed in warp fire. In battle, this warp fire can leap from the blasted standard to consume foes. Yeah, cool. So kind of just like this flaming banner that if you get too close is going to jump at you and consume your soul.
Worst game of peekaboo ever.
They have various chaos icons, and they're usually twisting, ever-shifting symbols of sorcerer's power, a beacon of divine influence that channels the changing winds of fate and bends reality to the wills of the changer of ways. Those are kind of just typical chaos signs, like it'll be the Tzeentchian symbol or the corn symbol. Maybe it's just the banner, that icon is number 9, for Tzeentch, and that's how they're getting the power from that. But it's usually more like those kind of things where it's an icon, a symbol. It's not like an actual warp fire artifact. And then they also have instruments of chaos, because why the fuck not? Even the warp wants to get down and boogie. The instruments of chaos are demonic devices imbued with essences of the warp, carried into battle by the followers of Tzeentch to unleash a haunting, mind-warping call that echoes through the battlefield, distorting reality and driving enemies to madness with its discordant, hypnotic tones. Yeah, like, so this thing can help summon things. It usually takes the form of an instrument. For Tzeentch, it's almost like not quite a trumpet, but definitely some type of like horn almost. And when you blow it, you're literally blowing out like warp power that calls other demons to you. It's a good time.
Yeah,
It's fantastic.
Yeah, I think having like a musical aspect to most most like chaos gods, like super sweet. Like everybody's like, the Emperor's children, they're the musical legion. Like it's like, nah. Pretty sure that Nurgle has a thing called the Bile Piper. He has cool music. Like these guys have this. Like, yeah, I think it's definitely. I think we gotta do an episode on like what kind of music does each chaos like god do, and also like all the legion, all the 30k legions, what music would they all like? Let's all think about
Talk
that.
about some goth rocka boys, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Goth Rocket Boys. You could do that. Like, what do orcs listen to? What are they all about? They're definitely ska, but like that's besides the point.
My band geek skills are screaming internally. I better be on for this episode.
Good.
Oh, is it my
man.
turn? Okay. I apologize to the listeners if my voice sounds a little off. I've been wrestling a couple of Nurglings all day. One at work and then another one just under my house right before we got started recording. So it's been a day. But here we go.
Days.
Oh, yeah, you're going to have days like that. But you said that every day. Yeah, you're going to have weeks like that. Okay. Demon Princes. Once mortal champions of chaos, demon princes have transcended their former existence, ascending to immortality as favored servants of the dark gods. Each demon prince retains the essence of their past, whether they were a mighty warlord, a cunning sorcerer, or a devout cult leader. But their bodies and minds are reshaped by the will of their patron. Towering in stature and imbued with dark power, they lead chaos armies as warlords and demigods, wielding both devastating physical might and unnatural sorcery. Some maintain a semblance of their former selves, while others become grotesque abominations of their master's twisted design. Though ascended, they are still bound to the whims of chaos, forever seeking to prove their worth, lest they fall from grace. A Tzeentchian demon prince is an agent of ceaseless change, an architect of fate whose very existence serves the great architect's grand design. Unlike the bloodthirsty warlords of Khorne or the festering overlords of Nurgle, these ascended beings do not wage war for simple destruction or decay, but to unravel destinies, twist reality, and orchestrate intricate schemes that span millennia. Each action they take furthers an enigmatic purpose, whether manipulating planetary rulers into ruinous pacts, guiding sorcerous cabals toward apocalyptic rituals, or shaping the tides of war through seemingly random interventions. To those who cannot perceive the cosmic puzzle they weave, their motives seem erratic, but to the demon prince, all is part of the great game of change. All according to plan, baby.
All according to plan.
All according to plan. I just sneezed, but I had it muted because it was all according to plan.
Of course. And we got to bring it back to that. We got to bring it back to that Kronk meme from Emperor's New Groove. Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
It's all coming together.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together. With each Tzeentchian demon prince, though, they definitely have different appearances. It's not like Khorne or Nurgle where they all kind of have like the same thing. They can be multiple different looks to them. The form of a Tzeentchian demon prince is ever shifting, a grotesque and beautiful blend of impossible geometries, writhing mutations, and shimmering energies. Their bodies are elongated and twisted with limbs that stretch and reform at will. Cloaked in hues that seem to shift when unobserved, many bear vast iridescent wings resembling those of monstrous birds, though their feathers flow like liquid flame. Their faces are inscrutable, ever-changing masks of flesh and energy, with piercing, pupilless eyes that hold the madness of infinite possibilities. Some possess multiple arms or hands that flicker between solid and spectral, while others appear to phase in and out of reality. There forms a paradox of existence and non-existence. Tzeentchian demon princes are unrivaled sorcerers as well. Their minds vast repositories of warp lore and forbidden knowledge. They can rewrite the fabric of reality with a thought, turning the very air into crackling warfire, transmuting enemies into gibbering horrors, or tearing open portals that swallow entire regiments. Their foresight is terrifying, allowing them to anticipate and counter an opponent's every move before it is even conceived. Even their physicality is deceptive. They are not merely flesh and bone, but living conundrums, immune to conventional logic. Blows meant to strike them may land elsewhere, and their wounds heal in ways that defy reason.
And
Like I think Tzeentch, like demon princes, are the coolest of the demon princes personally. They like the whole idea of like they're ever changing. I I get this idea of like if you like have ever heard of like biblical angels, be like not like what we think of, but like actual biblical angels.
Mhm.
That's what I'm like kind of picturing. It's like
sure.
it's a massive eyes and wings and it's coming in and out of
Mhm.
reality. And it's like
And so many parts are moving on it. Yeah.
Mhm.
right.
The eyes
So
are
that's the
always like
kind of
fixated on you.
yeah, and like no matter where you look, they're always looking at you kind of thing.
Mhm.
So, but
Mhm.
like I really think like they have like a cool model like the Tzeentch Demon Prince. It's like a big bird with iridescent wings and like and a big staff and everything like that. I think it's a cool model, but I think it's one of those things where if you wanted to, you could make so many different interesting things to be a Tzeentch Demon Prince that like you don't have to use the GW models at all because you can
Yeah,
just make
sure.
a conflagration of many different models and just be like,
Mhm.
that's my Tzeentch Demon. They're like, well, that doesn't make sense. It goes from being like a tree man to like it's just like clear plastic
Mhm.
to like another piece. It's like, yeah, that's part of the plan, man.
It's all
He's
part of
trying
the
to trick.
plan.
He's a tree, or is he a shadow, or is he a bird? I don't know. Nobody knows.
Only Tzeentch
As long
knows.
as long as you keep like that blue and gold thing. I'm actually going to dip into what Mark's been talking about the entire time for all these chaos gods. Is like I think in this case, blue and gold is probably what you're going to need to go for if you're doing Tzeentch. Like I know I
Yeah,
kind of
man.
pushed back a little bit when we were talking about Nurgle and the Death Guard, but I think for Tzeentch, keep it blue and gold.
Yeah, blue and gold, or like I always think too like a teal or like a jade color with like gold or white with it as well. Like I think stuff like that. Like, but yeah, blue and gold is like just it has the right feel.
Has the right
It's just
feel.
it's just some things are just like corn red,
Yep.
brass red,
Yep.
Nurgle green, yeah, but like browns, like there's kind of like you could do a lot of different things with Nurgle. Tzeentch blue and gold and like because it's regal in a way too, right? Like you have like this air of royalty, I find
Yeah.
with
Air of
Tzeentch in a
knowledge.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, an air of knowledge. I think that's what it
Totally.
is. Yeah.
Mm.
So I think definitely an interesting branch of the warp gods. So
Mhm.
Yeah. Demons, they do use the Tzeentchian demon princes do have different type of warrior options. Anything from staffs to bladed weapons to some will have guns that they've taken over. Like, when you become a demon prince, anything, the sky's the limits at that point. Especially just imagine if you're a Tzeentchian demon prince with a Tzeentchian demon weapon. And now where does the demon begin and the weapon end? You don't even know at this point now. Up next, we'll talk about greater demons. So, kind of step down from demon princes, greater demons, the colossal manifestations of the god's will. Greater demons are the most powerful entities within the warp, short of the dark gods themselves. Each is a perfect embodiment of their deity's nature. The bloodthirsters of Khorne, the deceitful keeper of secrets of Slaanesh, and the corpulent great unclean ones of Nurgle, and the scheming lords of change. These monstrous beings are not just warriors, but living conduits of the god's power, capable of reshaping reality with their presence alone. When they stride into battle, the very fabric of existence shudders, and mortals cower before their divine fury.
Fantastic.
I think, what you're saying about like their war gear Mark II and like them being greater demons, I love the idea of like of a greater demon having a lesser demon as a weapon.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's it just tickles my fancy for some reason. Like
It's kind
having
of
like
interesting, depending on what type of demon. Like if you put a demon steed in your weapon, how that would create a different demon weapon than a lesser demon, or
Yeah, exactly. Like for some reason, like I think of like Tzeentch, like they have like the Tzeentchian hellfire, right? Like fire's like a big kind of piece of Tzeentch. Having like the Tzeentch greater demon with like a flame cannon like mounted to his arm, and it's just a flamer that's like been stuck in a tube. And like, he just like wields it like that. I think that'd be so interesting to see. But yeah, I think the Tzeentch is cool, and it has like so many different options you could have.
Or like that comment that you made about a greater demon just using a lesser demon as a weapon just makes me think of the meme. It's just like, I'm bashing a motherfucker with another motherfucker.
Oh, shit.
Right? Exactly. I'm a dude playing a dude dressed as another dude.
What do you mean, you people?
The changer of ways.
The changer of ways.
Coming in hot in that movie.
Oh yeah, Tropic Thunder was the changer of ways. It's never been the same since, guys. That's actually that was actually the start of the multiverse.
That begs the question: which universe are we in currently?
I think it changed the path, and we're actually in the 40K universe now.
Oh no!
It's all downhill from here, boys.
Oh boy!
This is gonna be fucking cool looking.
Yep.
Right. Exactly.
Yep. Well, when it comes to the greater demons, of course, we got to talk about my personal favorite model from it in the almost the entirety of GW's line is the gives me Tom and Jerry cartoon vibes. Yeah. Yep. Or the Mortal Kombat fatality where he's just like rips a dude's leg off and just beats the guy to death with it. So, anyways, sidetrack. Here we go. Back on target. All according to plan. We're talking about the Lord of Change. One of my personal favorite models of like the entirety of GW's line, apart from like Morty and stuff. But so Lord of Change, a Tzeentchian Lord of Change is far more than a mere warrior of chaos. It is a living extension of its gods, infinite schemes, an avatar of deception, knowledge, and transformation. Each Lord of Change operates as a master manipulator, orchestrating events across centuries with maddening precision, ensuring that every twist and betrayal leads to the ultimate victory of Tzeentch. They are the architects of fate, whispering lies and half-truths into the ears of kings, sorcerers, and warlords, shaping the galaxy according to their master's ever-changing will. Though they can bring raw destruction to the battlefield, their greatest weapon is their ability to unravel reality itself, turning allies against each other, ensuring the downfall of empires long before their talents ever touch the ground. Appearance. Lords of Change are towering bird-like monstrosities. Their forms are ever-shifting spectacle of color, adorned with iridescent feathers that shimmer with unnatural hues. Their elongated limbs are clawed, hands exude an air of sinister elegance, while their vast wings, covered in cryptic patterns and swirling energies, seem to fold and unfold through dimensions beyond mortal understanding. Their many eyes gleam with the knowledge of countless possible futures, and their beaked faces twist in expressions of knowing amusement, as if every moment we're already preordained. Even their shadows writhe and flicker with unnatural life, whispering secrets that mortal minds cannot bear to hear.
Oh yeah, that's the good stuff right there.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, though, they do have with their appearance, like they have all these writhing and flickering with unnatural life, whispering secrets, all that kind of stuff. Uh, their powers stretch far beyond that. As the greatest sorcerers among Tzeentch's daemonic legions, lords of change wield magic with terrifying ease. Their mere presence warping the fabric of reality. Their mastery over the warp allows them to cast devastating spells, hurling warp fire that twists flesh into madness, reshaping time so that enemies age into dust, or raveling the very bonds of existence to send foes screaming into oblivion. They are nearly omniscient, able to foresee the countless paths of fate, making their nearly impossible to outmaneuver. Their illusions can deceive even the most disciplined minds, while their mere words can plant doubts that blossom onto full-scale betrayals. In battle, they rarely rely on brute strength, for to a lord of change, victory is best achieved before the first blow is ever struck. War gear. Though their true power lies in sorcery, lords of change often wield relics of immense arcane potency. Each a fragment of Tzeentch's endless arsenal, staves of change, topped with shifting runes and impossible geometries, channel raw warp energy into a reality warping blast or unravel the minds of those who gaze upon them. Some carry the scrolls of Tzeentch, each inscribed with spells so complex that reading them alters the fate of the universe itself. They may also bear enchanted talismans that distort time, reflect attacks back upon their wielders, or cause weapons to dissolve into writhing, useless masses. Every artifact in their possession is not merely a tool of war, but a piece in a grander game, an instrument of fate that ensures their inevitable victory. Man, I love some of the ideas of like Tzeentch weapons and war gear like that their demons have. Like I think these are so cool.
Yeah, you just read one line from this scroll, and then all of a sudden the whole galaxy kind of shifts over, and just everything's like sideways now. And then
Right.
yeah, okay,
But
perfect, thanks.
you still get stabbed because it didn't change the thing right in front of you. It just changed
Yeah.
something way off in the distance, and you're like, it just didn't help. Like what the hell? It's all according to plan. Dies.
Oh, according to plan. Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, I think the idea of like the scrolls and the talismans, but also like when they were talking about their powers, um they reshaping time so that enemies age into dust. I think that's something like that is like we had talked on the Nurgle episode that I think Nurgle is the actual like god of time because he like decay is all part of time and everything like that. I think these guys wield time in a different way. Like I don't think that that Tzeentch is the like god of time. I think he's the changer of ways, and he can bend the future and bend the past because of like what's happening in the future. He's changing the future, which in changes the past sometimes, right? Like I think there's that part of it, but I think the actual like how they almost don't actually control time. They make people think or they send them through time, which is different. I think it's just a different way of looking at it. Yeah.
Yeah, like he doesn't control the future. He sees the future. So then you can kind of predict what's going to happen. Where yeah, like Nurgle, it's that time is coming and it will come to an end eventually. Where Tzeentch doesn't want it to come to an end. He wants his party to kind of keep changing and evolving and growing. Like yeah, it's a different timescape for sure.
Yep. That changing the future to change the past comment that you made reminded me of something I learned way back in college. Apparently, I don't remember which specific tribe, so I apologize for not getting this right. But apparently, they're like some Native American tribes that view time, like most of us view time as like a straight line, point A, point B. You're born, you eat pizza, you die. That's it. They view it more as like cyclical and circular. So it's like you're born, you do something here, that's going to affect something later on down the road, and then the cycle is just going to repeat and continue, almost like a spiral of sorts. Like I said, I am paraphrasing that really heavily, so please don't at me if I'm getting that completely wrong.
Everybody, Gerald complaints at lorehammer.com.
No.
Yeah, no, I actually, it's kind of funny. My wife is Métis, so she's got Native American like indigenous ancestry, and she's talked about how certain tribes look at time and how like their rituals work and everything like that. It's very interesting. But yeah, it's kind of, they do look at it as like a circular life, like what you do now is affecting how things in the past happened, like with your ancestors. So it's very interesting how but I personally, I love your analogy of you're born, you eat pizza, you die. Like that's a very accurate description of my life so far. I've been born, I've eaten pizza. I don't want the next step to happen, guys.
You got time. You're still young.
Let's extend that part of the line a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm only 31. Help.
Oh, I feel old now.
Hey man, at least you don't have full beard, like gray beard going on here. So
hold on. I got some white whiskers like right here and then like right here forming. So
yeah.
Nice. You guys are lucky.
Oh,
I got no wisdom in my beard, just straight absurdity.
No. I started it was funny. I was like 20, 24, 25. I started this job at this company and I was like, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. It's very stressful. And I want to say like 6 months in, that's when I got these like streaks of gray in my beard, and I went
so
fully
crazy.
white. I went white fully on the sides of my head, like from like where my beard started, halfway up my head on each side was just completely white, going all the way to the back, and I looked like I was like dyeing my hair. I was like, no, man, this just I'm stressed out, man. And then as soon as I went to a different job, it all went back to being brown hair again, and I was like, okay, this sucks.
No more wisdom for you.
No more wisdom. I'm fine with not having that wisdom.
Moving forward, we got lesser demons up next. Though individually weaker than their towering counterparts, lesser demons are no less terrifying to those unfortunate enough to face them. They form the teeming ranks of the infernal legions, each type sculpted in their god's image. Tzeentch's ever-shifting pink horrors. Some fight in maddening swarms, others as disciplined legions, but all with the nightmare-made flesh, existing only to enact their master's will. While lesser in scale, their supernatural resilience and unholy fury make them a match for even the greatest mortal warriors. And they have two types of lesser demons. The first one is horrors. Tzeentchian horrors exist as a living embodiment of the sorcery and change, serving as foot soldiers in the endless schemes of the architect of fate. Unlike the brutal warriors of Khorne or the mindless hordes of Nurgle, horrors revel in magic, their very existence a chaotic swirl of the warp energy and deceitful trickery. They do not wage war for conquest or carnage, but for the sheer joy of disorder, spreading madness and mutation wherever they go. Whether summoned to battle by mortals or sorcerers, or unleashed upon reality by their master's grand plan, horrors bring anarchy in Tzeentch's name, crackling in manic glee as they twist fate itself. We got, yeah.
I love horrors. They're so cool.
What do these little guys look like?
They're something else. Like you would think with like all the demons we've talked about before, Tzeentch likes his burbs and he likes his Cthulhu tentacled seafood monstrosity. So horrors look kind of different though.
Yeah.
They're
they're one of the cutest models in the range. Like,
A fun little smile on their face as they burn you to warp ash. I love it.
yeah. I remember like there was this book that had mentioned horrors in it. I can't remember which one, but it was like they were like on a ship and they just saw like these things like they had like a Geller field had failed and they like pulled themselves through, and it was like almost like comical how like like you go like something's like trying to pull itself through and it like pops out and it like lands on like two legs and it like starts running or whatever. It was like this comical like way that he described it, but as soon as it popped out it like turned and smiled and had like razor teeth and it ran towards some person and it lit them on fire as they were running by, and like this person like burst into pink flames and it melted, and the guy was like, oh my god, this is so much worse. Oh man.
They're friend shaped.
Right? Why friend shaped if not
Mr.
friend?
Dangerous, why friend shaped? But well, speaking of being friend shaped, let's talk about their appearance. Tzeentchian horrors are ever shifting, grotesque creatures. I beg to disagree. Their bodies writhing in perpetual transformation, their flesh ripples with unnatural colors, constantly changing hues and impossible patterns. Some possess multiple limbs, others have oversized, leering faces, and all are adorned with jagged, flame-like crests that flicker as though ignited by warp energy. A horror's form is never truly stable. Extra arms, excuse me, mouths or eyes may manifest and disappear in an instant. Even their own kind are never quite sure what they will look like from one moment to the next. A perfect reflection of Tzeentch's chaotic will, all according to plan. And of course, they like their Tzeentch likes his sorcery, and so let's talk about some powers and abilities of these horrors. Horrors are walking conduits of warp magic, each one a living spell waiting to be unleashed. They hurl searing bolts of raw sorcery from their hands, mouths, or even eyes. Their warp fire capable of consuming both flesh and soul in unnatural flames. More than just spell fingers, horrors embody change itself. When slain, they split into smaller, more frenzied forms, with pink horrors bursting into twin blue horrors, which in turn dissolve into gibbering brimstone horrors. This perpetual cycle of division makes them difficult to fully destroy, as every death only fuels further chaos.
And the fact that they just like are a perpetual cycle, just awesome. I love that. Just like it's like pink horror, blue horror, brimstone horror. It's like what? But why are there more? Every time they die, just more. Oh man.
It's like
Welcome to
stamping
Warp
on,
Biology 101.
yeah, it's like
Horror
stamping
division.
on a flaming bag of dog shit and you step on it. And now you got dog shit flaming everywhere. It's like you haven't really solved the problem when you killed that horror. Now there's many more little horrors that are looking at you.
I'm telling you right now, man, do not step on the flaming bag of dog shit. It's just not a good time.
Oh,
No.
do it.
The stench.
Yeah, oh god, that used to happen to my back home on when I lived in BC. It was a little small town, and it was like everybody, like my mom and dad got dog shit burned on their porch multiple times. All the neighbors had it happen multiple times. It's the worst.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, there was lots of little brimstone horrors in my town, apparently. But unlike traditional warriors, the Tzeentchian horrors do not wield physical weapons. Their very essence is a weapon of magic and mutation. Their primary form of attack is the warp flame, a devastating energy discharge that not only burns but also alters the very nature of its victims, leaving them twisted in body and mind. Some horrors are gifted with the enchanted staves or rune-covered talismans, amplifying their sorceress abilities or protecting them from dispelling attempts. In battle, they rely on the sheer unpredictability of their magic rather than brute force, overwhelming foes with an onslaught of arcane energies and chaotic transformations. Flamers of Tzeentch exist as living embodiments of chaotic destruction, serving their master by incinerating reality itself. Wow, that was hard for me to say for some reason. I stumbled there. Serving their master by incinerating reality itself with ever-changing warp flame. They are summoned to battle as instruments of the architect of fate, spreading mutation and ruin wherever they go. Unlike the disciplined warriors of Khorne or the scheming manipulators of Tzeentch's mortal followers, Flamers can care nothing for grand plans or strategy. They are agents of unbridled entropy, reducing foes to writhing, mindless horrors or piles of shimmering ash. Whether they rampage across battlefields at the behest of a greater demon, or are conjured forth by mortal sorcerers desperate for power, their only purpose is to unleash the will of Tzeentch in the form of consuming fire. I didn't know that. I thought flamers could be controlled. Like, I thought that was something where you could just like go do that and like they would just go do, but they're just like, nah, I live for change. I change everything I touch. Like,
And I burn down everything else. Like,
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
So what you're
yeah,
saying
like,
is this is basically the pyro, if we're talking in Team Fortress terms.
yeah.
Sure.
The appearance.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
A flamer of Tzeentch is a creature of perpetual motion, its body a writhing, formless mass of unnatural hues, flickering as though made of liquid flame. It possesses no true head, instead featuring a gaping, lamprey-like maw set within its ever-twisting torso. Multiple spindly arms engage in its undulating flesh. Their elongated fingers terminated in flickering tongues of warp energy rather than solid appendages. These limbs constantly shift and reform, sometimes appearing as long, grasping tentacles, at other times as grasping clawed hands. Their skin, or what passes for it, is a swirling pattern of impossible colors, shimmering with an eerie hypnotic glow. The very sight of a flamer can be disorienting, as its form seems to dance between reality and a nightmare, a thing that defies the static nature of existence. Their powers and abilities. The Flamer's most terrifying power lies in its warp fire that they spew, a substance that burns not just flesh and bone, but the very essence of its victims. This unnatural fire does not merely destroy, it mutates, twisting those touched by it into a horrid new forms, or in some cases, unraveling their physical existence entirely. A flamer moves with an unpredictable, bounding gait, leaping and purulating across. What the fuck is that word? Purulating? Across the battlefield in erratic patterns that make it nearly impossible to track. While physically fragile compared to other demons, their volatile nature makes them difficult to destroy. Some slain flamers simply dissolve into smoke, only to reappear moments later in another shape. Their presence also warps reality around them, causing hallucinations, shifting landscapes, and unprecedented surges of raw warp energy.
The word you were looking for is pirouetting.
Pirouetting.
Okay.
I read it and I was like, I don't understand. And so I had to type it into my phone. I was like, oh, pirouetting.
Of course. And I still don't know what it means.
You're dancing like a pretty little ballerina.
Ah, okay. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's a great way to describe these flamers, or flamers in real life too.
Plain Jane. I love the
Got 'em.
pirouetting. Fancy for dancing.
Yes.
Love it.
Thank you, Plain Jane.
But the Flamers also have war gear. They are not just war gear, although it's easy to confuse the two. Unlike mortal warriors, Flamers of Tzeentch do not wield weapons in the conventional sense. Their bodies themselves are the instrument of destruction. I stand corrected. They are the war gear. Their elongated, ever-shifting limbs serve as living conduits for warp fire, spewing forth bursts of coruscating flame in a deadly dance of entropy. This flame, sometimes called the fire of change, burns in multiple colors at once and has the effects that defy physics. One gout may melt armor like wax, while another might cause its target to sprout extra limbs or burst into a cloud of shrieking spectral birds. More powerful flamers, such as the exalted flamers, can focus their destructive energies into even more intense blasts, capable of reducing entire squads of soldiers or armored vehicles to molten ruin. Their only true armament is their own chaotic nature, a force that no mundane weapon can truly replicate or contain. So talk about like a living bioweapon. There you go.
Yeah, you can't really destroy it. It'll just morph a new part that it needs to attack or move or whatever. Yeah.
So it just sets itself on fire. That'll make it change its own appearance. Then
perfect. It's a beautiful sight.
This is glorious, glorious.
Yeah.
It's everything you want and a little bit more.
As such is the way with Tzeentch. All according to plan. But Tzeentch also has all according to plan. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. But Tzeentch also has beasts. So let's talk about that real quick. Unrestrained by humanoid form, the beasts of the warp are chaos incarnate in primal, terrifying shapes. They lurch, slither, and gallop across battlefields with frenzied hunger, often serving as living weapons of their patron god. Fleshhounds of Khorne are relentless hunters, bounding through warp and real space to claim skulls for their master. Beasts of Nurgle in their grotesque exuberance, playfully dissolving foes with putrid secretions. Making me sick already. Slaaneshi fiends move with impossible speed, striking before their victims can react. I had a really dirty joke, but I'm not going to say it. While
Please do it. Lorehammer Legal has you covered. Just do it.
That brings a whole new definition to Quickie. While Tzeentch's screamers packs soar through the air, slicing through armor with warp change maws, these creatures serve as monstrous extensions of their masters, embodying raw, unthinking devotion to chaos.
Yeah, cool. The beasts. Yeah, like what happens when you bind a beast demon into your demon sword? Like you get this like feral predator like demon. You know, demons are already like so predatory and like hunter-esque, you know, but you put it in the beast form and it's even more like raw almost.
Yeah, I like the idea of doing that. I think it's I like the idea of like the beasts of Tzeentch, like screamer packs, like because it's all still the whole idea of like being in and out of reality. So like, is it a beast or is it your imagination of what a beast could be? Like, right?
Yeah.
So, but
and just raw power gives it to us raw.
bad, Gerald.
Oh, it burns, master.
You broke me. You broke me. I can't handle it.
You're welcome.
Oh boy. Speaking of some of these beasts, let's talk about screamers. It's kind of like Slaaneshi fiends, Tzeentch screamers. They're kind of like, you know, same but different. They're the Tzeentchian version of all these like most common beasts. Tzeentchian screamers are ravenous warp predators, serving as both shock troops and aerial hunters in the service of the Changer of Ways. Their primary role is to swoop down upon enemies, cutting through flesh, armor, and even reality itself with their warp-infused maws. They act as scouts and harassers, darting through the skies of both the immaterium and real space, seeking vulnerable prey or disrupting enemy formations. When commanded by a powerful sorcerer or demon, they can be herded into devastating hunting packs, their shrieking dives breaking enemy morale before a full-scale demonic incursion begins. I really like the idea of like having a they're in and out of reality itself and being controlled by a like sorcerer, where you see like a sorcerer like just like controlling them and like shooting them off in different directions and like almost like orchestrating like this like having like that
you took
that
the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Back to
Yeah.
the whole music thing. We're orchestrating, we're directing an orchestra
Yeah.
here.
Orchestrating, marionetting them as well, like having like a
For
I've
those
got
who've
an
played
idea
Space
for
Marine 2, they have the screamers in that where they form those hordes, and you just see them flying around, like millions of them flying around. It's so cool.
that's
Oh, man.
crazy. I haven't played Space Marine 2 yet. I want to, but I don't want to buy a PS5 or a PC that's powerful enough to do it.
That'll happen.
Right.
I'll get an
So-
Xbone X or something one day. Just it won't
Yeah.
be today.
But yeah,
Right.
perfect vision of just like the sorcerer just guiding like the winds of the warp and the screamers flying upon them. Yeah.
I think the idea of like also like the marionetting kind of thing, like having I can see like in my brain a Tzeentch sorcerer who has like a doll in front of them, and he's always marionetting the doll into different like things, and that's
Yeah.
controlling everything around him. I think that's super sick. That'd be
Oh,
super
really
cool.
Yeah.
Very
So,
cool.
but the appearance of the screamers themselves, they're nightmarish creatures resembling elongated eel-like rays. Their sleek, sinuous bodies built for effortless flight. Their skin shifts in color, shimmering with unnatural hues that ripple like oil on water, reflecting the raw magic that courses through their forms. Their undersides are lined with jagged lamprey-like maws, filled with rows of razor-sharp teeth capable of tearing through flesh and steel alike. Wickedly curved dorsal fins and barbed tails trail behind them, further accentuating their unnatural otherworldly speed. Their ever-changing visages and eerie keening wails make them a terrifying sight on any battlefield. Oh yeah, like I could just see like somebody like controlling them and like it just being like, oh my god, like just an Imperial Guardsman sitting there. I did not sign up for this.
Yeah. As these
Just a
demons
bunch
are
of eel
swooping
monsters.
down, eating his friends' heads, biting them off as they swoop down. Like, yikes.
Right? Exactly. Oh,
For those who
killer.
don't know, someone correct me, but these are screamers right here.
I'd have to zoom my camera in.
Oh yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure.
Oh,
Ourselves a
look at that
1,000 Sun
maw.
exalted sorcerer
Great name.
summoning. Yep. Did this for a good buddy of mine who's a big 1,000 Suns fanboy.
Nice.
So,
Yeah, that was tight. So the powers and abilities of the screamers are supernatural agility, darting through the air with impossible speed, twisting and diving to evade attacks or reposition for another devastating pass. The most feared attack is the Sky Shark Slash, a dive bombing. Who the fuck named that, by the way? A dive bombing maneuver where they skim across their targets, slicing through them with their warped charged fangs. They can also latch onto larger foes, tearing at them with their leech-like maws until only scraps remain. As creatures of Tzeentch, some screamers display minor reality warping abilities, phasing through obstacles and leaving trails of warp fire in their wake, making them near impossible to predict or contain. Their war gear. Unlike mortal warriors, screamers do not wield weapons in a traditional sense, but their own bodies serve as lethal instruments at war. Their primary weapons are their warp-infused jaws, capable of rendering through ceramite, adamantium, and even psychic barriers. Some particularly powerful screamers touched by Tzeentch's favor manifest additional esoteric abilities, such as trailing after images that confuse enemies or secreting corrosive warp energy that lingers after their strikes. When bound into the service of the Chaos Sorcerer or Demon Prince, they may be marked with sorcerous glyphs that enhance their resilience or allow them to momentarily shift between dimensions, making them even harder to destroy.
Wow.
Enhance.
Wow.
Enhance.
Yeah, I love that. It's cool, some of these like extra powers, like how you can kind of have these. You have these categories, greater demon, lesser demon, but even within them, not all demons are made the same. That demon name, if he says slightly different pronunciation, changes the demon entirely and what it's capable of doing. And maybe now it does have that after image effect.
Right? That's so different and different that you can see all these different things, right? So, and the fact that they're like, now here's a question: do these beasts, like demon beasts, do they all have names?
Yeah, like every demon has a true name. It's one of those things where lots of them just aren't important. Like, do you really need to know the true name of a lesser demon? Like,
Yeah,
are
I don't
inquisitors
know.
concerned with that type of thing? Not really.
No, I guess that's fair, but like I like I don't know, in my brain, I'm like, are they demons or are they or are they just beasts made out because they're in the warp are more controlled by these other demons?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
No,
Yeah,
I think
probably.
they're still manifestations of the god. Like some examples of kind of
Yeah.
what you're talking about would be closer to Furies, which are like warp manifestations of no specific gods. They're more just like that bestial,
Uh,
warp, chaotic nature.
I get okay. I get what you're saying. That makes a little bit more sense to me now.
Yeah.
Cool.
Quick screamer question from Mark. In Space Marine 2, do they actually have like any kind of sound to them, or is it just you just see millions of them like flying in the sky, phasing in and out of existence that you remember?
Yeah. You can't hear the sound over the roar of a bolt gun. I'm sorry, my friend. It's just bolts are flying. You can't hear shit.
I have it in my head canon that they all have like an amplified version of like an Aztec death whistle. If anybody has ever heard of that, Google it.
Yeah.
You will not be disappointed.
Fucking
I'm
tight.
definitely gonna Google it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we talked about beasts, and now there are some steeds of Tzeentch. Whether chitinous, serpentine, or equine, demonic steeds are unnatural mounts that amplify their riders' deadly prowess. Juggernauts of corn, hulking constructs of brass and sinew, trample their foes with thunderous rage. The Seekers of Slaanesh gallop with impossible speed, their live forms allowing their riders to strike with fluid grace. Discs of Tzeentch spin and whirl through the air, carrying sorcerers who rain warp fire upon their enemies. Rotflies, the grotesquely swollen insects of Nurgle, lumber through the air, spreading disease with every beat of their wings. These steeds are not merely transport, but terrifying creatures in their own right, their presence a herald of ruin. And to go further into what a Disc of Tzeentch is, Discs of Tzeentch serve as both mounts and living extensions of the Changer of Ways, carrying his chosen sorcerers and champions across battlefields with supernatural speed. These demonic constructs are gifted to favored servants, particularly lords of change and Tzeentchian sorcerers, allowing them to hover above the carnage and weave spells from a position of untouchable superiority. They act as both steeds and weapons, diving and slashing through enemies with mindless devotion. More than mere transport, they are expressions of Tzeentch's ever-shifting designs, gliding through the air as embodiments of unpredictable fate.
I just listened to the Aztec death whistle while you were reading that, just to get like an idea in my head of what screamers would sound like. I agree. That is terrifying, and I would hate to hear thousands and thousands of them doing that all at the same time. It would terrify me.
What can I say except you're welcome?
Yeah. As you were talking about discs of Tzeentch, though, what is a disc of Tzeentch? Like, what does it look like? What's the it's just a disc, right? It's very apt name for something.
The frisbee of
Disc.
Tzeentch.
Yeah, exactly, right. It's a discus of Tzeentch, actually. It's just a discus. They throw them. They use them in
The
games.
shock put of Tzeentch, if you will.
Shot of Tzeentch, right? But yeah, so like the discs of Tzeentch are bizarre warp spawned entities that resemble floating bladed saucers. Their surfaces covered in shifting iridescent patterns that writhe and change like living things. Some are chitinous and insectile, others resemble metallic glyphs brought to unnatural life, while others still pulse with arcane energies, their edges rippling like liquid flame. Their forms are never truly static, subtly altering in shape and hue, reflecting the chaotic nature of Tzeentch himself. Many are adorned with unnatural eyes, tentacles, or rows of demonic teeth along their rims, giving them an eerie, sentient quality. These demonic mounts are far more than mere conveyances. They move with impossible agility, hovering effortlessly through the air and darting unpredictably as if guided by some eldritch intelligence. Their speed makes them nearly untouchable in battle, and they can phase between dimensions for brief moments, allowing their riders to evade attacks or strike from unexpected angles. Some possess the ability to absorb ambient warp energy, amplifying the sorcerer's abilities of their riders, while others cackle with raw malice, projecting mind-warping shrieks that disrupt enemy formations. Their very presence twists the air around them, making reality shimmer and flicker in their wake. Man, I'm having a hard time talking today, and I think it's because Tzeentch is like trying to make me read too fast, and he's changing the script as I'm reading it.
Yeah,
It's just,
midway through the
oh,
word, he changes the back half of it, and you have to try to adapt.
I'm
I've been
telling you,
noticing that
Mary,
too.
now, man. I've been
Well,
noticing it. I don't know if
it
it's
could be
smart,
worse.
but
He
it
could-
might be Tzeentch.
It could be worse. He could just turn you into the book you're reading. So
Oh no!
there's that.
Not a book. Give me a better life than this. And they're like, toilet paper?
At least
like,
a spoon.
Yeah, book's fine.
You
Don't
have
make
turned
me
into
toilet
an
paper.
Imperial Guardsman's book manual. Toilet paper it is then.
Yay!
Yeah, right. Exactly. Oh,
Now
man.
you're a Nurgle demon. Perfect. Changer of ways added again. So
Yeah,
the
always.
weaponry
All
that
according
the
to plan.
discs have are their sheer speed and mobility. They don't have guns. They don't have rock bolters. But they can move so fast, and the warp infused blades along their rims allow them to cut through armor like flesh as they dart and pass foes. Some are wreathed in coruscating warp. What is that word? Coruscating warp flame, leaving trails of burning ether that sear both body and soul. Others are encrusted with crystalline growths that hum with psychic energy, enhance their rider's spellcraft. In some cases, the disc itself act as a conduit for demonic sorcery, channeling blasts and mugenic energy, or unleashing tendrils of living lightning that crackle and dance across the battlefield in Tzeentch's name.
Coruscating is the word.
Coruscating, yep, fucking hell, eh? One day we'll get this reading thing down.
I was trying to find it, but hey, honestly, I think it was Tzeentch again, just changing it up on you.
You're right.
It was coruscating, then it was corrugated, and then it was back to coruscating again. I'm telling you right now, it's Tzeentch.
We'll go into Tzeentch's demon engines. The fusion of warp-spawned entities and infernal machinery. Demon engines are an unholy creation of the dark mechanicum, melding demonic essence with twisted technology. Each is a war machine driven by a bound demon. Its form dictated by cruel function. Scuttling defiers armed with massive cannons and claws. Helldrakes swooping through the skies like possessed predators. And soul grinders. Monstrous amalgamations of flesh and metal that embody chaos itself. These infernal constructs exude malice, their weapons fueled by pure hatred, their engines screaming with agony of bound spirits within. In battle, they are relentless, their demonic hunger driving them forward to consume all in their path. Tzeentch does have a couple named type of demon engines, such as Flame Lords, and there's a couple other kind of really old school, like Warhammer Epic style models, it looks like. They also have like these silver towers, which maybe that's an episode in and of itself at one point, perhaps. But demon engines, they come in really all shapes and sizes. It might be a looted rhino that then they force a demon into, and now you got this cool start of a demon engine. They can take any shape or form, essentially.
It's funny you mentioned Silver Towers because they kind of do show up in Warhammer Fantasy as well. But of course, they're not named exactly that, but it's like one of those cheeky little ha ha ha, here's a 40K thing in fantasy.
Sure, interesting. Okay.
Very cool. But yeah, the whole demon engine thing, I think it's interesting because you can take the idea of like that the binding that we talked about earlier, Mark, just into like metal itself. The wire wolves that I was talking about in the Dan Abnett books and Gaunt's Ghosts that he talks about quite a bit, those have gears in them. Like their whole thing is they have like gears in them, so they're not powered, but when they're bound to it, the gears, like you can see everything becomes powered because it's got gears and joints, and it's like this weird amalgamation of like what a demon engine could be, or or what if it's just bound to the metal. It's very different, interesting, and I like the idea of like you could literally have demon engines that are tiny, like a clock.
Sure.
Like
Sure, that's a
right?
fun concept. Yeah.
Oh my god, a Tzeentch demon clock? Amazing.
You go to check the time and you just get thrown through time.
I need to set an alarm. The alarm, like when it goes off, swallows you into the warp.
Oh boy.
Oh man.
Well, you also got to ask why. What's the purpose of these demon engines? What nefarious purposes could the Changer of Ways have with Vashtor and his soul forges? Tzeentchian demon engines exist to serve the ever-changing will of the Changer of Ways, spreading madness, mutation, and eldritch destruction across the battlefield. Unlike the brute force war machines of Khorne or the pestilent engines of Nurgle, these abominable constructs do not merely seek slaughter, but act as instruments of deception, sorcery, and arcane devastation. Excuse me. Their presence warps reality itself, unraveling battle plans as they twist fate in unpredictable ways. They are often deployed to break enemy cohesion, disrupt strategies, and sow discord within opposing forces, ensuring that no battle unfolds as expected. Whoa. Okay. I'm getting like a double dose of like Tzeentch and Nurgle going on here. Now I'm starting to mess up.
It's happening.
It's happening. It's happening, guys.
We're creating the fifth chaos god.
The god of the inability to read. Bring out your gods.
Bring out your gods. Appearance. The forms of Tzeentchian demon engines are ever-shifting, a fusion of sorcerous metal and writhing demonic flesh that defies logical design. Their hulls shimmer with unnatural hues, constantly changing as if glimpsed through a mirage. Eyes blink open and close across their surfaces. Mouths whisper cryptic secrets or streak in laughter, and arcane runes glow with a sinister inner light. Many of these engines float or hover rather than lumber on mechanical limbs, propelled by unseen forces. Their shapes are as asymmetrical and disorienting, appearing almost unfinished, yet impossibly intricate, as though forged from the very fabric of chaos itself. So big takeaway from a lot of this is just like, what's an appearance of a Tzeentch demon? Who fucking knows?
We would tell you, but then it would kill you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is the embodiment of I would tell you, but then I gotta kill you.
Like, I could tell you, but it won't be right 5 minutes from now.
Nope.
Right, exactly. And like with that too, like what does it look like? I don't know. What is its powers and abilities? Nobody knows. It's provocative.
It's like that point that you made earlier near the beginning of the episode. It's like, think Google biblically accurate angels, and that's basically anything Tzeentch.
Yeah.
And then now you wonder why they always say, "Be not afraid."
Yeah, it like fucks with your mind.
Be not afraid. Yeah. Oh man, in the 40K universe, whenever anybody talks about biblical angels, that's like they're actually just talking about Tzeentch demons. So,
Basically,
Basically,
I love it.
Afraid. Here comes Slaneshi. Oh yeah, I tapped that. Okay, actually, be more afraid.
Ah!
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know.
But,
I just these guardsmen are in the trench. They're like, I just don't get it. Whenever that keeper of secrets comes around, it ends up looking like me. It's like all the other guys are thinking about this guy. Like,
Wow.
well,
no.
anyways, yeah, oh no is right. But what you do, what you gotta do in those trenches, you know.
Do what you gotta do in the trenches. Oh
What goes
man.
on in the trenches stays in the warp.
What happens in the trenches stays in the Oh boy. Anyways, we should be talking about Tzeentch. Let's talk about Tzeentch. The powers and abilities of Tzeentch demon engines are more than just war machines. They are living conduits of warp energy, capable of unleashing devastating sorcerous attacks. Their mere presence distorts reality, making them difficult to target as their forms flicker between dimensions. Some have the ability to rewrite probability itself, causing enemy shots to veer off course of their own weapons to strike with unnatural precision. Their bound daemonic spirits allow them to regenerate from wounds, reshaping their forms mid-battle. Many can project waves of raw warp energy that turn flesh to liquid, ignite minds with insanity, or cause entire squads to be whisked away into the immaterium without a trace. Tzeentch demon engines wield arcane weaponry that harnesses the raw power of the warp, manifesting as energy lances, etheric cannons, and warp fire breath. Some are equipped with eldritch flamers that spew multicolored infernos, melting armor and flesh alike while distorting time around their victims. Others possess warp scream emitters, unleashing devastating psychic howls that shatter minds before bodies, their talons and tendrils, often made of shifting metal and living flame, can slice through reality itself, bypassing conventional armor. Many are also adorned with sorcerous sigils that enhance their resistance to enemy attacks, causing projectiles to dissolve mid-air or ricochet unpredictably into nearby foes.
I love the variety of weapons and the weirdness of them. Like they're shooting like weird colors at you that somehow mess with your frequency and then you explode. Like they just do the weapons don't seem normal, you know?
Exactly, right? Everything's always changing and like uh, like you
They're
could
like
have a
two-step
warp fire
weapons.
cannon.
Sorry, go
Yeah,
on.
yeah. Sorry, they're like a warp fire. Like you have a warp fire cannon that turns into like an energy lance if it charges long enough, kind of thing. Like kind of they have like different. I never think that they have one weapon. Like if you're a demon engine, your weapon changes to whatever you need it to be for the thing that you need. Right? I just love that part of it personally.
Yeah. Yeah, almost like mini obliterators, almost, or like demonic obliterators.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
cool.
So, do you mind if I just I know we're talking Tzeentchian demon engines. Um, mind if I just read a description of a wirewolf? Because
Yeah, please.
to me it feels very Tzeentchy.
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay. The Wirewolf, like all demon engines, are machines powered by trapped demonic entity. Although, unlike most demon engines used by the forces of chaos, wirewolves can take a variety of shapes and forms, all depending on their maker's will. These range in shape from knights in full armor to actual hounds. Wirewolves were commonly produced and used to police and protect the worlds of the consanguinity. These rites performed by teams of filia, metallurgists, and wiresmiths put a demon spirit into a conductor of body of metal, allowing it to walk abroad. This process is long and might take solar months or even standard years to properly machine the metal chassis of a wirewolf to perfection, inscribing it with the most precise runes and sigils of the Dark Tongue. When they are inactive, wirewolves hang from specially fashioned gibbets, where arcane practices make the space between the materium and the immaterium thin so the warp could finger its way through the aether when the correct commands came. These beasts could be summoned by wandering glyphs, which are sentient chaos runes, at the slightest hint of disturbances from the area's enslaved population. Once awoken, wirewolves were known to be nearly uncontrollable, often attacking friends and foes alike. Yeah, I think that's very Tzeentch-y, personally.
Yeah, super cool description.
Yeah. I also love, I forgot about the wandering glyphs, like just chaos runes that are like floating around. Like, that's also very Tzeentch-y.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, those wirewolves are very interesting. I'm just kind of scanning the canon about them. Funny stuff, interesting stuff. Add to the list of oddities of just like these interesting little one-off things that you hear of one time and never again. But the galaxy is a big place, so that's fine.
It's a big place.
Very big place.
All right, the last little bit of this episode, we're going to be talking about the notable demons. We kind of talked about the broad categories of them, lessers and all that. Notable demons. A demon may ascend to notoriety within the ranks of the god through the combination of ruthless ambition, acts of unparalleled cunning, or the unwavering pursuit of its deity's inscrutable desires. These demons are not born into greatness, but are forged through their deeds, be it through slaying rivals in the name of chaos, sowing discord among mortals, or manipulating the fates of entire civilizations for their patrons' benefit. Their mastery of their god's domain, whether it be a sorcery of Tzeentch or the brutality of Khorne, or the decadence of Slaanesh, often leads to them to gain favor and recognition, standing apart from the countless lesser servants. Such demons do not merely exist in the dark corners of the warp. They carve their name into the annals of history, becoming instruments of their god's will, embodying the essence of their patrons' ambitions, and shaping the very course of the galaxy. In time, these demons are not only feared, but revered. Their very names are whispered by those who would challenge the forces of chaos, a testament to the depths of corruption and power they have attained. It's a weird chicken and egg one, this one for sure, to get titles and power as a god or as a demon. There is no time in the warp. Once something happens in the warp, it happens across all of the warp. So that god or that demon and his titles he's made, and then instantly he gets all his titles. It's like, well, in 10,000 years he's gonna actually do the deed that got him this title. But until now, I guess it's a placeholder title.
Right.
I
love that idea. Oh man.
Or like breaking off like pieces of yourself to create greater demons and lesser demons. Like, you're giving more power to your greater demons. They're gonna already have the ability to get those titles and everything that they're known to do. So
yeah.
All I can think about is like in Game of Thrones with Daenerys Targaryen, how she continues to get like more titles and more titles, and I'm like, but she's just born with all the titles, and then she just happens to do all of them throughout her life.
Yeah.
Oh man. So we're gonna go into one of the notable greater demons, who's also the guy I main in Total Warhammer 3. So we're gonna talk about Kairos Fate Weaver.
Whoa.
A little bit, because honestly, he deserves like his own episode. It even says here in the notes, deserves full episode. So there you go. Soon TM,
he does
soon
so
TM.
much. He's involved in like the Horus Heresy. He's involved in everything, really.
He is the weaver of fate. One might say he is everything.
Yeah. Tell me more.
Kairos Fate Weaver, also known as Fate Weaver or the Oracle of Tzeentch, stands as an embodiment of the inscrutable and deceptive will of his master, a two-headed lord of change. Fate Fate Weaver is the pinnacle of Tzeentch's greater demons, his vast power surging from the endless webs of knowledge that bind fate and destiny. None among Tzeentch's servants hold more sway, for Fate Weaver alone is privy to the cryptic currents of both past and future, his sight unmarred by the burdens of the present. Yet, as with all gifts of chaos, such power is laced with treachery. One of Fate Weaver's heads speaks only truth, while the other uttereth lies. How dare you? So insidious and convincing that they mirror the truth in every way. Their paradoxical words intertwine, a symphony of contradiction as potent as they are corruptive. To seek the answer from Fate Weaver is to dance with the unfathomable, for in his duality no certainty may be found.
I love that he knows, but he ain't gonna tell you. Well, he will, but he'll also lie to you. Like,
one of us speaks in riddles, the other speaks in rhymes.
Right? Oh man, killer. Some other notable ones here are the blue scribes, known as Pitarex and Zagartiput. That's what Archetyput.
Yeah, go with it.
Two blue horrors bound in service to Tzeentch with a singular maddening purpose: to collect every spell in existence. For within each incantation lies a shard of Tzeentch, a fragment of his boundless shifting essence that he seeks to reclaim. This is no mere task, it is the cornerstone of his strategy to assert his dominance in the great game, to rise above the other chaos gods, and to seize control over all of creation. The blue scribes, mounted upon their discs of Tzeentch, glide effortlessly between the realms of mortal and demon, their quills poised to capture the stolen fragments of their god, binding them to parchment with ink soaked in eldritch power. Tzeentch, ever the manipulator, gifted his scribes with an intellect surpassing even that of the most cunning minds, but layered it with a brilliant safeguard against treachery. Pitarex, master of the written word, can transcribe the ancient syllables of magic into twisted chaos runes, but is cursed never to read his own script. His brother, is capable of deciphering Pitarex's maddening glyphs, yet is left unable to comprehend their meaning. Thus, the scribes are bound in an internal cycle of chaotic inefficiency.
Inefficiency, what a term.
Right? May speak the spells written by Pitarex, but cannot foresee their outcome, nor control what will transpire. The result is a storm of uncontrolled sorcery unleashed upon any who dare approach, a dissonant barrage of arcane power, as unpredictable and destructive as the whim of their god himself. In combat, the blue scribes embody the very essence of Tzeentch's schemes, ever-changing, ever uncertain, and ever corrupting. Oh man, I hate that name so much.
I hear Zap.
This makes me think of that song from the Prince of Egypt when they were like naming all the Egyptian gods.
Yeah, exactly, right? Oh man. I saw it, I was like, I read the names, I'm like, these are gonna be in like every freaking sentence now throughout this whole thing I gotta read, and lo and behold, they were in a few.
Everyone.
Mark hates me. Mark, this is all Mark's plan. Mark is each.
All according to plan.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I love these two. They're like the perfect harmony of disharmony. One writes, the other like says stuff, and then the other can't read it, but the other one can, and it's just like this confusing mess of like they're trying to collect every spell in existence, which would be impossible because I'm sure new spells are constantly being made. Like it's such a fun job for these guys. It's so counterproductive, essentially.
That's right.
So changing, yeah. But that's the perfectness of it, you know. That's the perfect chinchiness of it, where it's just like, what are you up to over there, Chinch? He's just like, don't you mind what I'm up to over here with my blue scribe.
Don't worry about it. Don't ask questions.
Worry about it.
Tzeentch is just a mobster. Don't worry about it. Okay. I'll try.
Jeez, I won't ask. Jeez.
Gabagool. Stop.
Hey, get the gabagoo.
This is my boy Zipped. Maybe that's more Russian.
Look what they've done to my. Look how they massacred my beautiful boy.
Oh.
They pronounced his name so wrong.
This is an easy name to pronounce. The Reckoner. The next demon we'll talk about. The Reckoner is a demon of Tzeentch, the harbinger of fate, wrapped in mystery and sorrow. Cloaked in a shadow, this towering figure wields a staff crowned with an avian skull, its hollow eyes peering into the very fabric of time. The Reckoner offers those brave or foolish enough to seek his favor a chance to traverse the rivers of time. Yet all is not as it seems. The price for such power is steep. Those who accept the Reckoner's bargain must first endure the torment of their own sorrowful memories, forced to relive the depths of their pain and despair. Once the price is paid, the traveler is swept into the Reckoning's rivers of memories, drowning in the swirling tides of their past, only to emerge at their desired destination. But there is no escape from the residue of such an ordeal. The echoes of those memories linger, a corrupting burden on the soul. During the Horus Heresy, the dark sorcerer Ahriman and his cabal, ever scheming in their quest for forbidden power, sought out the Reckoner's dark gift. Though this wicked ritual, they traveled back to the unification era of Terra, drawn by a singular purpose, to locate the Shard of Magnus, imprisoned within the body of King Cadmus. The Reckoner, ever the agent of Tzeentch's inscrutable will, guided them on this perilous journey. Yet who can say what further consequences await those who meddle with the fabric of time itself? Yeah, what a trip this guy is. Anytime you start getting involved with like time shenanigans, it starts getting wild.
It gets weird.
Wild.
Yeah. I wanted to be with my own dad, so I went back in time and did something I shouldn't.
It's like, what do you do with a time machine whenever you get it? You go back and you kill Hitler. And it's like, you think you can kill Hitler? I could kill baby Hitler. You're gonna kill a baby? I don't know. Like,
you're gonna kill a baby?
Well, when you say it like that, it makes it sound really bad.
Makes it sound very bad. That's so funny. Oh man.
Oh man.
And the final demon that we'll talk about today is the Changeling.
Oh boy. Oh, quick note, because there was some talk in the Grimlord Discord if there was one or multiple. There is only one. That's why it's called the Changeling.
Yeah.
So the Changeling is a demon that embodies the darkest, most insidious facets of Tzeentch's psyche. The meddler, the deceiver, the trickster. With a mere thought, he is capable of assuming any form, from the smallest of insects to the towering presence of a greater demon. His shape is a mask, ever shifting, and none, save perhaps Tzeentch himself, know the true visage. I'm sorry, his shape is a mask, ever shifting, and none, save perhaps Tzeentch himself, know the true visage of the Changeling. He cloaks himself, hiding beneath layers of deception, perhaps even to the point where he has forgotten his own original form. But it is not merely the ability to take on new shapes that defines the Changeling. His mastery lies in the perfection with which he adopts the very essence of his assumed identities, mannerisms, behaviors, even personalities, so flawlessly that even the dark gods themselves are often beguiled. He plays his role with such intricate precision that no being in all of creation is immune to trickery. Yet there is one singular limitation, one forbidden domain. The Changeling cannot and will not replicate the form of the great god Tzeentch. Even in this most subtle of deceptions, the grand schemer will not tolerate another to wear his mask, for in his webs no other may claim his identity, not even for a moment. To attempt such a thing is to invite the chaos of Tzeentch's wrath, for his very being is too precious, too corrupted to be usurped.
Yeah, cool. The Changeling sounds like a mimic in real life, says Purge. They also have Changeling too in real life, quote unquote. But I feel like they're more like they change and they take the form of a baby and they replace your sleeping baby with a Changeling, and then you're supposed to nurture this weird Changeling baby. which is pretty different than this changeling of Tzeentch, but still kind of fun to know.
Yeah, in real life, it's like you're changed by it's like elves or the Fey folk as it's called, but it's kind of dark because ways to determine whether or not your child is a changeling is you have to treat it as horrible as possible, up into and including throwing it in the fireplace.
Ooh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
about as bad as you can treat a baby.
Yeah. So apply this
Get
to
in
real
that
life in the
fireplace.
Middle Ages. You got bad things happening on hand. So
Yeah, I have a very good baby. I got a 5-month-old baby, but she's been very good. Barely ever cries. Very good baby. But I could imagine you just have a monster baby that's always screaming, and you think that thing's fucking possessed by a demon or something. Woo! The Middle Ages were dark times, man. Yeah, got up to some crazy shit.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting about all these named demons, there's one other big bad, Magnus the Red, but we'll do soon TM on that Primarch, demon Primarch guy. We'll get to him eventually. But what's interesting to note about these demons, the notable named ones, is they're not necessarily categorized into greater demon, lesser demon, or beast or
Yeah.
anything. Like Kura's Fate Weaver is a greater demon, but like the Blue Scribes, yeah, they're horrors, but this changeling, what is he? Something kind of different. Like
Yeah,
the
what's
warp,
the reckoner?
yeah, what's the reckoner? You know, the warp, it doesn't necessarily have rules on, well, chaos gods can only create 5 types of demons, and you can only have 1 greater demon. Like, there's no rules. If the chaos god decides to manifest his power in this weird, unique, individual way, it can definitely do that for sure.
Yeah, like you don't have to have like as a chaos god, I would be creating new stuff every day. And if my name's Tzeentch and I am the changer of ways, I'm definitely changing things up all the time.
Sure, yeah. The more bizarre and creative, the better.
Right? I'm not going to have 5 things. That's the only things I create.
rule number 1, party all the time. Rule number 2, cocaine everywhere.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the Tzeentch's Scintillating Legions. They're pretty cool. You know, if you wanna buy some, go to Merlin Miniatures. Use promo code Lorehammer. You can go buy yourself some greater demons, lesser demons, all types of fun stuff. I love the color schemes. I love all the imagery. It's fun nowadays where we don't have to be so limited to the, like we were talking about demon princes in the model range. We don't have to be limited to the GW version of that demon prince because it can get so wild. And if you go look at STL files, you're going to find some fucking cool demon princes and stuff. Same with demon engines, really, for that matter.
Or if you want a really good Lord of Change and don't want to pay the $160 American that it is, hold on, let me make sure I'm mathing right. Yeah, $168 American.
Fuck.
For a Lord of Change, go to Etsy or just find an STL for really cheap and print your own.
Yeah, for sure. No, I love it, man. Like you could get crazy with some of these demons. A lot of the other ones, like we kind of mentioned, like we don't really want to mess around with Korn's demons shape. Like they have a vibe to them. But yeah, these guys, they are the changing demons, the shifters.
Yeah, exactly. You could definitely do stuff with these where you just take stuff from AOS 40K and clay is your friend. Like, use some clay and some wire armatures and create something that is completely unique to yourself and have it be different, right? Like you can do all sorts of things with the Tzeentch demons.
Yeah. Here's a quick thought and angle we never really talked about. Demon princes, typically they're humanoid or humans. I mean, I'm sure there's examples of other ones, but let's dive into the Harud for a second and their time entropy powers. And that's pretty fucking Tzeentchy. Changing time, changing.
Tzeentchy.
Yeah, right. And just imagine a Harud demon prince who's kind of like, time skipped a whole civilization to death and then was elevated to demon prince.
That's great. Yeah, that's a crazy idea. Because people think of the Harud and they think, ew, gross worm things, and think it's more Nurgle based. But yeah, the time thing, I forgot they did that.
Yeah. These little entropy
That's very
bubbles.
Tzeentchy.
Yeah, man. I like it. We're gonna do some call-ins. Jax, welcome to the stage. What are your thoughts on some Harud demon princes?
Harud demon princes. All I know is I got this demon prince. Oh shit!
It's falling
And
apart.
it changed. It
It
changed.
changed right before our eyes.
Change your wings.
Change your
I'm in.
wings.
We have Sephiroth.
No, but you gotta love Tzeentch. 1 second you're his go-to man, the next you're chaos warp spawn.
Yeah. Which was your plan? His plan for you all along, really. So
Exactly.
yeah.
All right, I gotta
Fine.
ask Jax this
All
question.
coming together.
Knowing what you know now,
Shoot.
would you still who would you prefer, Tzeentch or Nurgle?
Tzeentch. Not even close.
Good man. At least he knows he's going to betray you.
Oh, I don't like that.
Right.
Better the evil you know than the evil that'll turn you into a plant.
Yeah, okay.
I guess that's one way to look at it.
Yeah, it's definitely one way. There's some cool
Tzeentch is
companies
just
that
sitting
when
here.
they die, they take your corpse and they plant a tree, and you become the tree. So you don't want that for your life?
I mean, I just hate Nurgle. Like, Tzeentch won the great game. They threw a bunch of Marines at each other. Each Chaos God had this day where they had a great battle between each other, and Tzeentch won. Nurgle lost, which good on you, Tzeentch.
I feel like you have two modes there, Jax. It's either you hate it, and you're 100% against it, or it's the Night Lords. There's not a lot of middle ground there for you.
Oh, don't get him started. Don't get him started.
That's wrong. You're right, but there's an extra mode. It's you see an Eldar or any female in 40k, and
Never seen one. Definitely not around 40k minis for sure. Never in my life. I've heard they exist.
there's someone.
They're somewhere.
you
Somehow we
believe
all
hard
keep
enough, one will
reproducing,
exist.
but yeah. All right.
Just
well,
another
fuck.
changeling.
One day, Jax, you get a girlfriend. I think we'll leave it like that, where you can't even defend yourself. I don't even know. Just boot them out. One day, Jax, you can get a girlfriend. I believe it.
Every single
hey.
time.
Yeah, I think it's the best that way. Yo, Fuzz, welcome to the show. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Made it just in time for the call-ins, as has happened before.
Yeah. So now you get to discuss what you have no idea about. So tell us, what was your thoughts on the episode?
I'm sure it was stellar as always. Actually, coincidentally, one of the women I know that does play and paint Warhammer 40k is a Tzeentch player.
Ah, okay.
Typical.
Yeah, I feel like we joke about girls, but yeah, I feel like they're either playing Chaos Demons or Tyranids. Primarily Tyranids females go towards, and then if not, Chaos Demons.
Yeah, the ones I know play Chaos Demons or Drukhari.
Drukhari's close, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
On the fantasy side of things, the ladies love Skaven. Just saying.
They love their rat people. Just reminds them of their boyfriends.
We are a bunch of filthy bastards.
Just filthy rat people.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Yes. Shiny plastic I need.
Right. So obviously, I wasn't here for the whole episode, but one thing I was wondering is where do the demons that you fight in Space Marine 2 fall in there, since they're Tzeentch demons?
Yeah, you kind of fight a couple different ones. You definitely fight those they're like fucking beastmen, Transgors.
Okay.
Mongors.
Yeah.
Zangors. Yeah, Zangors. You also see some screamers flying around and stuff. But those Zangors, they're different. I believe they're like almost like an alien race that has been corrupted and now served. They're not necessarily actually demons.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
very
they're
cool. I like that.
yeah, they're actually like beast men that have just become followers of Tzeentch.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know you see like because some of them fly on the discs of Tzeentch, which is really cool that those are also like their own individual demon.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got like these weird pseudo-human beastmen, demon Tanzagors flying on demons. It's fun. It's nice for sure. But
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
you like the lesser demons of Tzeentch are horrors. You know, you don't really see them in Space Marine at all. These flaming guys. You see a Lord of Change for sure at the very end.
Yeah. You see a lot of
But-
change. You know, obviously you see the corrupted Marines, and so yeah, there's the Beastmen and the
Yeah.
discs. But that's I was trying to think if there's anything else that like had come out in the any of like the content drops, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
and a funny thing to know is you actually find the Zangors as part of like the Chaos Space Marines faction, or like specifically the Thousand Suns faction, but you don't find them in the actual Chaos Demons lineup. I'm looking at the GW website right now,
Okay.
so I'm able to confirm this.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like we have one more episode for each god, where right now we're doing all the demons, and then we're gonna do one more called like the cult of the god, and that's where we'll talk about the Tanzagors. We'll talk about the night houses and cultists and all that kind of more the mortal followers as opposed to like the demonic aspect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I did catch at the end some of the greater demons, and I really did like the changeling. The changeling seems like it is the perfect agent for Tzeentch to send when there's like a high priority target that instead of assassination is there for corruption. Like that is who, like, say it's like a planetary governor that Tzeentch needs to twist in some way. That's the perfect agent to send to impersonate like their wife or a child or an advisor, to be that worm tongue character to whisper in their ear and twist them to whatever Tzeentch needs that plan to change to.
Yeah, I like that idea of the worm tongue character, that changeling, where just whispering the fate that's just their own undoing, but they're gonna do it anyways.
Yeah, it's like, an assassin of the mind as opposed to an assassin of the body.
Yeah.
Oh, assassin of the mind. I like that.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
changeling's becoming more cool every second we talk about it. So.
Right? Like, if and maybe even like higher than like a planetary governor, like, if you're gonna try to send a demon to corrupt like a Custodes or a High Lord of Terra or something like that, like this is the person that you send like deep into enemy territory to do that corruption.
Yeah. The changeling does have two miniatures. It has like a very old school mini, and then it does have a newer updated one. And it's very cool looking, very slick, very like just like alien and mysterious almost. Like, yeah.
Nice. And you're talking about the Harud. Are the Harud official? Like, are they an actual like Tzeentch faction? Or not Tzeentch faction, but like, do they actually worship Tzeentch, or just in their like, natural entropic way, linked to that change?
Yeah, the second way, just in that natural kind of. But like, there's nothing saying that a Harad couldn't worship change, but it's not that direct. Like, yeah.
They're fucking brutal.
It's not like the Tanzagors where there is that like direct, like, oh yeah, okay, something's happening here. Yeah.
But I like the fact that there are actually different Xenos that can believe in that can or do worship the Chaos Gods. Like you got the layer, the layer for Slanesh, where Fulgrim got his layer sword. Too. You got the Zangors, who are basically the beastmen that fall to Tzeentch. So, like, I like the idea that there's actually more Xenos than just humans that worship the Chaos Gods. But I understand from like a practical standpoint, it that just creates that's a whole kerfluffle of trying to create different minis for each and every single one. So that
you can't model them all.
No.
Yeah, that leaves it up to the kit bashers out there.
Yeah, aliens and the changeling, man. Like when I'm looking at this model, it almost seems like Tzeentch is playing the Tau Empire with Tau Va, the greater good god. They look very similar, the changeling and Tau Va. Many arms, each arm's holding a different relic of symbols for the people that's trying to help. Very Uh-huh.
Let's see. Okay, yeah, that is a
I just looked
really
at the changeling
cool model.
It's
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah. So that's my new going theory that the changeling is actually Talva, the greater good deity.
That would be, I mean, that would be a hell of a plot twist, you know.
Hell of a
But I
plot
definitely
twist.
see where you're coming at with that though, because yeah, it's got, I think the model has 4 arms. And yeah, like,
But,
you know,
like,
there's nothing to
lopsided.
say that. Yeah, there's nothing that's saying it couldn't, you know, have more. Dependent, I'm sure it can shapeshift into whatever the hell it wants to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I like it. Well, any other closing thoughts there, Fuzz?
Not just my usual, you know, jump on the Discord, get on the Patreon, join the Imperial Tithe, come join us and chat for the live streams. It can be a wild time.
Yeah. Oh man, were you here yesterday for the teeth
Yes, I went
episode?
for the teeth. Oh my goodness.
God.
Court is never going to live that down, and it's going to be the
No.
best.
No.
But I will
yeah,
still
go-
defend him on it is cool to own teeth and bones.
yeah, okay. Well, if you want to know what we're talking about, go hop onto our Discord, and in Lorehammer Main, there's some fun little videos from last night that I put up there about teeth and collecting your friend's teeth, I guess.
Love that.
Oh no.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Fuzz. We'll see you on the next one.
No problem. Night, fellas.
Night.
See ya.
All right. Well, that's that. What a fun little episode. I definitely learned a lot. I like going through and seeing the different ways of what does a Khorne demon weapon look like? Why would you possess somebody with a Tzeentchian demon over a Khorne one? Which version of demon are you trying to bind? What effects? I'm gonna really enjoy going through each one of the gods and kind of seeing how each one of those branches plays out, you know.
Oh yeah. But this is making me go through the GW website. I'm just like, I'm wrestling with myself. I'm just like, I can get another army. No, stop that. No, no.
Just
No, I
one.
hear you, man. Oh,
I'm
Well,
already
let's
on
do
like I'm already on a steampunk dwarf bed with the carriage and overlords from Age of Sigmar. So I no, that's another expense I don't need to deal with right now.
Cool. Yeah, well, no, I disagree with both of you. I think you can never have enough Warhammer. I think every paycheck should be 100% dedicated to Warhammer. But that's just me. That's just the way I choose to live.
Where do you think all your paychecks to me have been going? Have you seen my pile of shame, Mark?
Ah! Very cool. Well, that's the end of the show. Quick end notes. If you want to go buy minis, go to Merlin's Miniatures. Use promo code Lorehammer, or click in the link in the episode description below. You get little discounts. Join their mailing list. But go check out Merlin's Miniatures and buy your miniatures from there, not GW. Also, go check out Lorehammer Listener Lore podcast. I read homebrew lore, your homebrew lore. So go check that out. Almost 200 episodes out.
Woohoo! And I'm on several of those episodes.
Heck yeah.
But so we've been talking about fantasy for quite a bit. So whenever you want to learn about Tzeentch in the fantasy setting, come on over to the Grimoire podcast. Ray and I talk about all things Warhammer Fantasy and Age of Sigmar. Sometimes we delve into other settings, just as all according to plan. So there you go.
Heck yeah.
and if you're looking to look at some cool models and follow along on some painting projects and hobby projects in general, you can follow me at dwarven.horde.minis on Instagram. And yeah, kind of go from there. I just finished up uploading some Kroot models to the Instagram page, and then I'm actually going to start doing videos and stuff probably in the next little bit here of renovations I'm doing to my basement room, where I'm going to be taking all of my Warhammer stuff that's in this room and putting it into a dedicated space that is
Ooh, yeah.
100% completely optimized to hobby. So like
yeah.
custom shelving, custom paint spray booth, custom everything just to my exact desires. So I'm gonna have photography set up and everything. So it's gonna be cool, and I'm gonna walk people through that and how I kind of want to do things. So Yeah.
You were briefly mentioning that you might do a once a week hobby hangout event on the Discord channel. Nothing's serious or not anything, but that'd be a lot of fun to kind of just do a hobby hangout like that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. We might start doing that in the next couple of weeks here. I want to get a couple things set up properly. I just got some good lights, so I've got some really nice lights with diffusers and everything. So we're gonna do once that gets all set up and I have all the lights figured out and like an actual filming angle. So it would be great to do something like that where I can do a hobby hangout and get to meet all the lovely listeners and they get to meet me and we can talk lore hammer, talk modeling and painting and whatever we want to do. So all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the chat seems to love this idea of doing a once a week kind of hobby hang. Because we do these a lot, but like a hangout's such a different vibe for sure. We need a little bit of that in our lore hammer life.
Exactly, right. So and everybody can kind of come. So Plain Jane said jelly. I'm like, well, just join the Discord, Plain Jane, and you can be a part of this, and you can be a part. We can all do it together.
Cool. Well, no new Patreon since yesterday. Quick turnaround of a day doesn't give lots of time for people to donate, but you can always donate. You can donate right now. And if you don't want to subscribe, you can just throw us a one-time donation. There's links in the description below, but we appreciate every buck that is sent our way. As much as we joke about it being spent on minis, we also spend it on other hobbies and fast food. So we are spending it responsibly, but send in your donations our way. We really do appreciate it. All right, boys. I think next time I'll see you guys, it'll be a Space Wolf episode.
Oh, Big Daddy.
Yes.
I think so.
I'm excited. I always like Space Wolves.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
All right.
People are going to look at the Space Wolves episode and just go, hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, brother. Get me some mead.
And then watch all the Space Wolf haters just come out of the woodwork.
Oh yeah, it's gonna happen.
Raging in the comments.
Yeah. I wonder how much power we have though. Can we change around the Space Wolf hate? I'll spin people around backwards. They'll be like, "Oh, what? Mark likes wolves on wolves now." It's the coolest idea.
Claws and claw faces and fang tooths.
Can't wait to talk about wolf guns.
Right.
All right, everyone. Well, we'll see you all on the next episode. And adios.
See you later.
Bye.